Hey everyone, it's Dia here, and I've got a very special update to share with you all. Heading into Year 6, the ALGS team have been working hard behind the scenes to make the viewing experience better than ever. Let me show you around the newest addition to the ALGS website, the ALGS multiview. After signing in with your EA account, you'll be able to watch up to 12 streams at once during every single ALGS event. Each team has its own dedicated observer and comms that you can listen to. Viewers will even be able to vote for which player's POV they want to watch. You can customize your layout, add custom Twitch streams, and even draw over them with built-in tools. Team and individual stats will be easily accessible in the sidebar, updating in real time. And just like on Twitch, you can clip your favorite moments as they happen. And yes, you are still eligible for Twitch drops. Now keep in mind that the ALGS multiview tool is still in beta, so as we continue improving the experience, we want your feedback. Please share it using the button that you'll find in the bottom right of your screen. Now this tool is free to use, and it'll be available for every single ALGS event. So log on, find your favorite POVs, and tune in for the best viewing experience that ALGS has to offer.
This is everything you missed in the first week of the ALGS Pro League. Starting off with the EMEA, we saw the powerhouse Aurora dominate in their first official match day, placing in the top 3 5 out of 6 games. We also saw the unsigned team of Pot frag out hard, placing 18 points ahead of second place on their match day. With 2 match days played though, we saw Priya and Nikki edge ahead in the overall standings, just 1 point ahead of Game Gladiators. Over in the Americas, NIP had an extremely strong start, placing 1st and 3rd in their match days. Team Full 11 found success on match day 1, placing 1st with 36 kills, but couldn't replicate that the next day, where they came in 20th place. Some of our big name teams didn't find the success they were looking for, but there's still plenty of time for them to rack up points and bounce back. In APAC North, we saw the newly formed super team of Zeta Division have a good start, placing 3rd. They were beaten out by Noez Fox and Unlimit, who carry on their Pro League dominating form from year 5. The return of LAN champion Obli saw mixed results, placing 1st and then 13th on their match days. Will he be able to keep up that LAN winning form with his eyes set on another trophy? And now finally in APAC South, we saw a return to form from our mid-season playoff champions, VK Gaming. Despite struggling in Split 2 and at Champs last year, they finished their day with a 1st place finish. Wolf Esports found their footing again as well, finishing 1st on their match day. In the overall standings though, SAUL Esports showed their usual consistency, ending in 1st place after 2 match days played. I'm Jumba, and now you're all up to speed. ALGS Split 1 Pro League will be back this weekend, so make sure to catch all the action.
They're ready for more, let's settle it. Look at the life that we relish, I'm telling it. I'm the star of the show and the regiment. Can't stop me, bro, ain't no pedaling. Ain't no riding the wave, staring right in your face. You know where I'm getting it. This ain't back in the days. Get ready for more and more, ain't no meddling, no. Gotta know what my head is for sure. I had a show when I was young, I had my back on the ropes. Looking like I never had her on roll. In school of hard knocks, I get hard props. Got drive even when the car stops. I don't ask it if they let me, ain't no get ready. When you stay ready, let's go.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Apex Legends Global Series. We are back for match day 3, this time for the Americas after a very exciting EMEA region series. Again, I am your host, Glitter Explosion, and we've got Onset and Bravo back and ready to dive into everything. And now that we're in a new region, any expectations for what we could see out of the Americas, Mark?
Ooh, that's an interesting question, isn't it? I think that I'm going to repeat what I said a little bit earlier on EMEA. I think that there is a kind of a settling in compositions, there's a settling in the way that people want to play this game after the most recent patch with some of the buffs that we saw to Legends. So I'm looking for some consistency today. I'm looking for teams to feel a little bit more calm about how they're approaching the game and put some consistent good games back to back.
100%, 100%. Andy, now you've gotten some reps under your belt. You're back in the groove, sounding great in EMEA. Are you ready to dive into the Americas?
So ready. I think the big thing for B versus C is which team wants to start to pull away from the pack. They kind of got rocked, both these groups, by Group A. Falcons, right, placing 4th, but being number 1 in this group tells you a lot. So I think the teams that want to pull away have a chance to do it here, and we're going to have to see who separates themselves from the rest of the group.
That is a good shout. And since you're talking about it, we're going to dive straight into the standings as they are right now for the Americas. NIP at the top with 43 total points, Mark.
Yeah, NIP, a very, very good couple of days from then. 43 points, like you say. The world champions, Oblivion, just in behind them as well. But keep your eyes on the teams that have only played the one series. Look down to the likes of Falcons, Team Burger, the newly named Team Burger. You've got MOC, Men of Culture in behind them as well, and JDG. All of them are chasing down those top spots. And with a good match day here, they could leapfrog up those leaderboards towards the top.
And you mentioned him, so we might as well explain what we're talking about. The newly named Team Burger Medium Rare has changed their name officially as of 48 hours ago on our end of things to Team Burger. And if you guys have been following along with the ALGS, and you will remember Team Burger from back in the Raleigh days at LAN. Okay, this was a massive fan presence at the event, and I think this is really kind of fun and exciting, Andy, that we're bringing it back now. Team Burger here in year 6.
Bringing it back. I think Team Burger is the only team that maybe rivals Alliance and Fnatic in terms of total signs held up at LAN events. So I think a lot of people are excited to have Team Burger back in the scene as soon as the name change went in. Like you said, officially on the ALGS system only about 48 hours ago. They've been running as Team Burger all week. And of course, we're taking a look at the old Burger as well with the MT Waltzy Jarl roster. 17th place at ALGS Champs, and a lot of support for good reason. And I think we're going to see a lot of Team Burger fans. There they are. Some Team Burger fans coming back and ready to support MT and the new squad.
Look at it. Look at the throwback, Mark. I mean, this was a really fun LAN, but specifically when we're looking at Team Burger, obviously this is the old squad, and this is where everybody went after that old squad. Now we're looking at the new Team Burger.
We are indeed. I mean, Waltzy's had some success, of course. MT still here, still rocking, that IGL role as well. We're still leading the pack, and this is the new look team. You've got Gent and you've got Slayer joining MT as well, so he's still leading the pack. It's good to see that the original Team Burger logo has now increased its resolution as it's moved through the years as well to the one that we've got here now. So, updating with the times. So let's hope that Team Burger can repeat the kind of success, and I'm sure that there's a few Australians who were kind of maybe a little bit disenfranchised from the ALGS, didn't have that connection, all of a sudden sat up hearing this news, and they're going to be back at their PCs right now, watching and getting ready to book those tickets to the next event.
100%. They absolutely are. And if we're talking about Team Burger, it's time to also start discussing comps. And we had this discussion in EMEA a little bit, but it is definitely much more relevant and prevalent here when it comes to the Americas, the rise of the baby comp. Now, Mark, for everybody at home, if they don't even know what the baby comp is, first, let's explain to them what that means.
Well, firstly, there's a few names for it, but baby comp is probably the most broadcast friendly that we're going to go with, depending on who you ask. But essentially, what we're looking at is a composition which is based around Newcastle and Gibraltar working together. And Team Burger are one of the teams who have used it pretty exclusively in recent times. And I think one thing to highlight about it is it kind of is a throwback to that old support meta, right? You have the consistent ability to cycle abilities to stay alive and be a real nuisance. Now, with Gibraltar buffs also happening recently, you then cycle the Newcastle mobile shield, you cycle the bubble, and it really is almost makes a team unkillable in certain situations when they're playing corners. We are seeing it combined with the likes of Valkyrie to slam some spots in zones late. It really is interesting to see this composition not only come back but change the way that teams are approaching things, especially when they're not even running a console legend. So it's very interesting to see how that's going to affect play today.
We also have a few other legend comps that we've been seeing a lot of as well, Andy. We've got Meat Mountain up here and this Cat Mag kind of combo. so talk me through these. Yeah,
I'm really glad Meat Mountain has made an appearance here. This is a comp that is exclusively and maybe unfortunately American. Only 8 of them ran last week. The Gimme Newcastle Cossack. It's a very specific comp. Only 8 of them. We'll have to see if there are any this week, but of course Cat Maggie, in terms of being a very different comp and a counter comp, we're seeing not only Maggie's being ran, but also even Game 1 Maggie's, Mark.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at this is interesting. This is like Baby Comp versus Cat Mag. So essentially, Baby Comp and the counter. And it's interesting to look at average placements versus, average kills and top 5 rates. We're seeing a lot of Baby Comp getting to top 5s into late games, but winning games when the counter comps are in the lobby as well becomes a lot more difficult. So getting to end game, pretty easy to do. It's kind of why they're saying Baby Comp, right? You don't have to have the greatest of macro to get to these end game positions, because with Gibraltar and Newcastle working together, any spot becomes a playable spot. But it's the end game where you don't have the offensive tools that it can really start to hurt you. So I'm interested to see how teams adapt to that as well if they do get to end game on the Baby Comp. And I'm interested to see if the Maggie crypto teams, they can be aggressive and take them out as quickly as possible should they see them in front of them.
100%. If we're talking about those more aggro teams, one of the squads that is not running Baby Comp, that has been running that Maggie Comp, is Falcons. It's been working in their favor as well. So Andy, talk to me about this.
Sure, yeah. Falcons last week running all Maggie comps exclusively through the entire lobby. No Gibby, no Newcastle through the entire thing. Sticking to this, and that's largely because if you watch scrims going into their match day 1, they got sick of it. As Mark said, there are other names for the baby comp. Hal uses a few of them. They are not broadcast appropriate. They got sick of it. I think they were running it game after game, and it's also a comp where if you have a late game drop, it does become very frustrating, and you start to ask yourself, why on earth are we even playing this? So they went back exclusively to all Maggie comps, but it is important to know, and by the way, as you see plus 6,700 damage just like blowing out the lobby, it's important to note that they are back, at least in your games 4-5, and sometimes even as early as 3. They, along with a lot of other teams, will be on baby comp. This was game number 6 where they wiped Men of Culture to actually leapfrog them in the standings, but they will be, without a doubt, I think there will be games, as long as the bans follow the right order, which I know is a tight gamble in today's Pro League environment, they will probably be running it quite a bit, so we'll be on the lookout of when teams start to shift over to baby comp.
Yeah, we absolutely will. And since you're talking about some of those other teams, specifically Men of Culture, who they were leapfrogging when it comes to those standings, let's take a look at the teams, the groups that are going to be participating today. It is obviously groups B and C, the first time that these teams will be facing off in a lobby against each other, but also the second time that we get to see both groups of these teams. And you know, when we're looking at these squads, Falcons are going to be looking to move their way to the top of that leaderboard, while the likes of Shopify Rebellion will be looking to improve on the performance that we saw out of them last time around. But you mentioned them, Men of Culture 5th on match day 1 with a little bit of a different, more aggressive play style. They had a really solid showing, and we're going to be keeping an eye on them today to see if that play style still works out for them this time around, or if any changes were made from last week now that we're starting to settle a little bit more kind of into this split, into this meta, and see how it's all going to be working out in their favor. So lots of storylines for us to be keeping our eyes on throughout the day. And if EMEA was any indication, we're in for a treat when it comes to our matches for today. So chat, I hope that you are as excited as we are. And if you guys are just joining us and you haven't done so already, or you just want to keep up to date with everything that we have going on throughout the year, follow along with us on social media. That is at Play Apex Esports on X, YouTube, Insta, and TikTok, as well as at Play Apex on Twitch. As long as you're on there, you won't miss out on anything. And of course, make sure you're especially on those newer social media platforms of Insta and TikTok, because we do a lot of giveaways over there as well. And if you're wondering how you can customize your ALGS experience, check out our new multiview. All you have to do is head on over to algs.ea.com, set it up to 12 POVs. You have the map feed. It is incredibly customizable for how you want to watch every single week of the ALGS. It's very cool, whether that's your favorite players or favorite teams. So make sure you are getting that set up and checking it out. And you could still get your Twitch drops when they are available on the multi-view as well. For now, we are done talking. It's time to jump into match number 1. So Mark, let's get into it.
Let's do it. Let's get towards the games. That's why we're all here, right? We want to see these games get underway. And Andy, the Americas is always a blast to watch. This time, though, a little bit of a different layout from what we saw the last time we saw these two groups go up against each other. This time, we're starting off on E District. Talk me through this POI draft and things that have jumped out to you.
Yeah, it's going to be a very different set of games. I think the most notable things are going to be a late draft here from Falcons getting Old Town and choosing that over Shipyard, which was available. You can expect them. It's a very familiar drop for them, of course, not just in league play, but also in terms of scrims. So they will be kind of moving up, scrap looting in Humbert after Unreal Nightmare exits there. So expect them to take a pretty similar path. Also, I just want to point out Shopify and Men of Culture nearby one another. Two teams that like to fight, but two teams with differing levels of professional experience. I think the real talking point there, Mark, is Shopify just needs to be aware of the pathing that MOC might take.
I would agree with you, and I think Shopify Rebellion is a huge talking point for this week of action, because they have not performed. Quite simply have not performed so far to the anywhere near the level that we saw from when they won the regional finals last season. So Shopify have a lot of questions to answer today, and I'm very interested on what we're going to see from them, Andy, because scrims haven't looked great. performances in Pro League haven't looked great. Something needs to change for Shopify, and maybe today can be the catalyst for that change.
Yeah, it really does. Let's not forget the last time we saw them in Pro League, right? It was going to be split 2 last year. Just some dominant performances, great performances, of course, at the regional final as well. So they're no stranger to success of all different kinds, but we'll need to see them step it up. They're currently sat in 12th in the power rankings between these two groups. And speaking of choices, interested to see what they run comp-wise. They ran such a mix of comps, everything from altar comps into Bang Maggie, into Baby Comp, into Meat Mountain last week. So it looks like they kind of tried a bit of everything. It didn't necessarily pay off. We'll have to see what they do here in game number 1.
Well, let's see where we are going to be playing from as we head into our first game of the day. Welcome along once again, everybody. It's going to be a fun day of action here in the Americas. If you watch the EMEAs and you're still here if you watched EMEA, the EMEAs, that's a different region that I've just made up. EMEA, and you're still here for the Americas, well, you're a true, real one, and we love to have you here. So let's start off with Team Burger. We're going to watch them playing immediately on the Baby Comp.
Exactly there. They've done it well. Of course, keep in mind, we generally won't see teams run this till later in the series, but these guys have been Baby Comp believers. Team Burger has subscribed to this. They lean into it. They play it. They look for that late game. And let's not forget, with MT's experience in terms of the calls that he makes, it works out so well, Mark, in terms of just the fact that they can lean on his late game IGL experience, know exactly where they want to play, and play for that spot.
It's going to be interesting to see how they approach this game. Of course, they are landing over at Blossom Drive right on the edge of E District. So the plan is going to be, of course, to get up to purple. Make sure you got that purple Valkyrie available. Make sure that you've got those 3 Gibby ults available for the end game. And that can be the difference. We are going down to Humbert Labs. Team Falcons going to be happy. Unreal Nightmare going to be happy. Nice Guys going to be happy. And DKK are going to be pretty smiley as well.
And if you'll remember, Mark, these things come in pairs. So we saw back-to-back EDAM zones earlier. And now, of course, the last one, we left off on a Humbert Lab zone, so how foolish of us to not think that it would be coming right back to Humbert Labs. Of course, this poll's a bit different, though. Old Town is completely out here, and there's a little bit of settlement in, so this could more so be a Humbert North zone in the end game.
Yeah, it looks like it will be pulling more towards, like you say, the Humbert POI and some of the areas surrounding, possibly towards some of those little openings in the big wall where the bridges are down on that low ground, or maybe, like you say, a little bit more north. And Falcons are going to try and take one of those more northern buildings as they already make that rotate. One team who's going to be cut down early on their rotation is going to be Nice Guys. They've already lost Ambino.
Wow, yeah, it looks like going to be Rails able to pick up that first one. So not what you expect to see, but it's a tough move, and trying to just lock down early areas of Humbert can be tricky. We just saw Falcons do it without issue. JDG is already in the back, likely going to try to play compound based on the routing they're taking in the tunnel. Falcons is already holding low ground and also maybe poking a bit. It should be based on what we just saw. So things already getting pretty dicey, and also unsurprisingly, no matter where we pull, it's going to be dicey in Galleria.
Yeah, it certainly is indeed. By the way, Shuby's just been taken down by Guild, so Falcons are in the feed getting a kill, and we're also seeing Zest on your screen right now, chasing down Revival. It looks like they managed to find one. However, it's only one for now. By the way, JDG having a really rough start because Sang is now getting involved as well, and that's Naughty down. So 2 players from JDG over at Humbert Labs have already lost their lives in this game.
Yeah, just the altar open, and to be honest, this is a pretty standard pull, so teams are going to have general kind of expected pathing, but I think everyone's maybe a little bit overzealous in some cases of the speed that they want to get into Humbert.
JD Gaming eliminated. That is your Red Bull first strike. They are gone. So that's going to be the end of JD Gaming, and JDG will be out on watching and hoping that game number 2 goes a little bit better. Moving through E-Bank, though, is going to be Zest, and there are a few teams, as you would imagine, and always is, Andy, who are going to be making their way through E-Bank pretty soon.
Yeah, JDG, by the way, was your Vibe Isle team, so they tried to exit a bit too fast, and they get caught in the scuffle very early on. As you said, that's a very early exit for that squad. They had a pretty respectable week number 1, placing 6th overall, so I think JDG overall would be happy with that result, but they're going to have to look to the rest of their games to put points on the board.
The Zest do find the final player of Revival, and we're going to see the Vault being able to add to its kill tally, just for now though, because the R9 has immediately been picked up off the death box of January. So short-lived, shall we say, use of the Vault, but it got the job done.
Yeah, got to mention there, that's Canal Plaza and E-Bank, the western of the 2 zones, beating Revival and JDG in Galleria and Vibe Isle. So clearly there was going to be 4 teams entering E-Bank. Not surprising on this kind of pull, only 2 of them exit, so those are your first 2 squads to go.
Elsewhere, just looking at the map overhead, it's very, very busy in Humber. And I just did actually want to highlight Shopify Rebellion. Great job from our observing team. They left Boardwalk. They moved all the way up to Resort, where Men of Culture drop. Let them move ahead of them. And now they're slowly moving their way in towards Zone. Looking at the composition, it's an aggro one.
Yep.
I mean, you've got Alta, you've got Crypto, you've got Maggie. It looks like Shopify Rebellion are coming into game one with a plan to fight.
Yeah, they're going to be ready to fight. And I actually think a lot of people who looked at the drop map would have thought the same thing. We mentioned Shopify and MOC being so close. I'm not surprised they let MOC actually get out of Resort through the City Hall open space, and then they just scrap loot behind them. I think it's a really smart play. They can still fight from edge. They will be on purple by the time they get there, but it ensures that they avoid the chaos of whatever MOC might bring.
Elsewhere over at Humber Labs, you can see a couple of teams who are setting up for now. We've got Kimchi and Crew on Team HUSS, who are taking one of the buildings in the compound. Deep into zone, so they should be pretty safe for now, especially having Caustic in the composition will be able to lock down this building. They also have Duplex, who's going to be on the Crypto, who's going to have that drone up in the air, making sure that anyone who tries to push is either going to be spotted out or certainly EMP'd on their way towards their position. Jelly with a little poke of the longbow, which again, like I said earlier in Amir, it's great to see the longbow back in the meta. It's been far too long. And Duplex is taking a huge amount of time.
Yeah, and it looks like I couldn't agree more there. The R9 and longbow combo, just good to see it back, even in this meta. Still, of course, both very viable. Of course, seen a lot of R9s, but in today's Hemlock meta, seen a little bit less longbow, but still good to see it. We talk about the space that HUSS is commanding right now in terms of just being off the compound. We've seen a lot of very important and historic end zones just there. However, if you do look at the poll, it looks like it's likely going to come up just a bit from there. So they'll be able to own all of that space, Mark, and they'll need to move north eventually, without a doubt.
We'll have to see what their play will be a little bit later on. Everybody else in Humber at the moment is very, very busy. The teams who are on the outside, though, Zestfest, Gamblers, Crazy Thieves, all taking their time to move towards zone. And just looking across the composition, CRT running an aggressive comp here. They're going to be running the Crypto, Maggie, Alta. You're looking across at Gamblers. They're going to be running Crypto, Maggie, and Caustic. So none of these teams are kind of playing for that late purple Evo on the baby comp. It's only Team Burger who seem to be running it in this game number one, Andy.
Yeah, they busted out game number one. And as you saw, they're still only making their way to Canal Plaza. Very happy to play on purple and scrap loot everything that they might on the way to make sure that they are well kitted for the late game.
Shopify Rebellion over at draft point at the moment, just hitting the survey beacon, and that will catch out Men of Culture. So we might get our hopes up for that fight to take place. Flat in the meantime, we're going to find a kill inside of Humber Labs down on the low ground. Couple of barrels going out. Nano is down though. Drops is trying to move in on this one for DKK and is going to swing beautifully. Exchanges places with his teammate as well. He follows up on that damage, and now Kuzia is last player alive.
Yeah, we'll see what we could do on this res. Like you said, the gas bought them just a little bit of time, but it was a very nice two-man swing from DKK to at least get that first knock. DINOS, by the way, going to get the respawn on Chaos to come back in the game as well as Flat resets here.
Yeah, Flat will reset, and it looks like DKK are auto-portering out as well to get back to that Void Nexus and reset. So it looks like Flat actually did a pretty good job of holding this little shop down and holding off what looked like a pretty successful initial push coming in from DKK. 20 seconds or so left on this zone close, Andy. It looks like Flat going to be pretty safe for now.
Yeah, certainly. I think DKK was thinking if it's, especially if they happen to know it could have been DINOS and Flat, this could be a very good third-party opportunity, especially with the way that those two play. But it's a very good hold, and things will settle down for now as the round two close will begin.
DKK playing the four-story building. You can see just at the northern side of Humbert Labs. This is a really good spot to play should the zone pull towards the north. I think a lot of teams now who are in and around Humbert are just waiting for that next bit of information on not this zone, but the one afterwards, into what their next play is going to be. A little bit of an exchange of fire between Zestfest and Purple Slushee. But nobody going down for now. CRT on your screens. They're getting aggressive here, Andy.
Yeah, they're looking actually at Vatari. They're looking here at the MOC player who actually is just going to head back. I think it's a very smart play as CRT is going to think about pouncing on that height, but Vatari is just going to get out of that, not interested in learning about more of the fight. I think another good note as we take a look at that CRT move, DKK, it's a team that will presumably be on baby comp, but kind of going with the meta to start off, but Purple Slushee eliminated in the feed. Yeah,
that will be the nades working. You can see Kuzia from Flat is also moving up onto that position, just kind of pinching them in. Has to be careful though. He doesn't overextend here and find himself giving away his life. He's a little bit separate from his team. But on the altar does have the ability, of course, just to queue through a few walls to get back. Looks like he's just trying to be a little bit of a nuisance here. See if he can get that first knock.
Yeah, like you said, just a little bit more damage as well. Barrels are going off, so going to buy a little bit of time and space. But good damage trades, kind of back and forth, going to prevent both teams from necessarily collapsing on it. They'll just heal up and look to see if they can get a little bit stronger entry damage on one another.
Yeah, it looked like Louis' job there was to sit on the portal just in case things went wrong. Sit on that Nexus. If somebody goes down, drag them back through ASAP. And instead, Flat now going to retreat and accept that maybe that fight isn't the one to be taking right now. Elsewhere, have a look at Shopify Rebellion. They've moved into the back of Old Town here. Into the shop where we saw one of the strangest end games we've seen in quite some time a little bit earlier on. They will have to move though right at that southern tip of zone. We are pulling essentially to that southern building and just outside of it in Humbert.
Yeah, it pulls right back to the southern lab. So even though I think a lot of teams, you could just tell by the kind of right now the posturing and positioning at all of Humbert North, all of those builds, everyone will need to make a move through, and it will be vicious. Everyone coming through that, all those chokes out of those buildings, very different from our earlier EDAM pulls where there was nothing to play. Instead, there's tons of space to play now. However, this next move is going to be a deadly one.
And Team Burger just serenely kind of wandering their way towards zone. Not a worry in the world for them. Men of Culture, they see them on their way through that choke, give them a little wave and continue to rotate far away from zone. Crazy Thieves are inside of zone right now, trying to hold out Men of Culture. And I tell you what, Team Burger have to be a little bit careful here. When you Valcult is the interesting thing here. Where do you try and Valcult to? Is it to next zone? Do you wait a little bit longer to see if you can spot us somewhere out that's being thirded and take a fight that you can pick up some KP on the way in? So Team Burger are still with some decisions to make on the timing of this Valcult.
Especially because CRT is holding the top of the western side of the wall. Then you've got ROC commanding an enormous amount of space, and then not too far away is Shopify. So normally Team Burger would look for something around the Old Town side, but based on the current positions of those three teams, I don't really think it's available. Falcons here still holding this build.
Yeah, Falcons just about safe for this next zone as well. And they will have to move for the zone after that, and they'll find that out pretty soon, and then they'll have to readjust what their game plan is and fight their way through the lobby. Team Burger on your screen right now. When's that Valcult going to be pulled? We'll find out in a few seconds' time, and we'll find out from the mouths of the players themselves. Let's jump into a listen-in with Team Burger.
The only issue would be the bottom team, like all the EMPing and all the queuing out. We should be fine.
Okay.
All right. Ready? That's the main. If that's what's taking, where else are we gonna go?
If that's what's we can land here, we can land back here.
There's only one team on the side. There's only one team on the side. That could be fucked for us.
Yeah, I mean, just look, just hold it high.
Yeah, I'm holding it.
What's free?
There's nobody height. Oh yeah,
we just take
There's
it.
alter crypto.
Yeah, there's nobody height.
It's alter
I think
crypto.
we still take it. I think we still take it. There's one high. One guy high. One guy high.
Get him.
Kill him. Yeah, chill.
Wait, the bird,
You need to
the bird.
get down. You need to get down.
Yeah. I'm getting it on me. Getting it on me.
No, it's a magazine
Anderson?
here, I think.
Okay.
I think that's side there. K kidnaps.
Careful, you're right in the fucking portal. Safe in the
Yeah,
lobby, sitting on the wall. Don't sit in the corner. Do not sit in the corner. Do not sit in the corner. We need to break drones too. We need the main problem is fucking breaking drones.
You need to.
Yeah.
No shit.
Well, it works out beautifully as Valkyrie takes to the skies. Team Burger land, and they manage to force Yanya away as well. 16 squads now remain. We lost HPM a few moments ago. Gamblers have got the respawn onto Duvant, and then, I mean, Team Burger just showing how powerful this composition can be, Andy.
Yeah, especially when no one else is running it. Notice how counterintuitively Humbert height can be open in these zones because it is so open and teams don't want to get focused. But when you're flying in with the option to not only Newcastle Q upon landing, then wall and a bubble as a backup, the only thing, as you heard, they said care kidnaps. Watch out for the altar kidnaps from below. Other than that, it's an amazing spot to be able to grab, and it's only possible on this comp.
Interesting to see where this zone is pulling, by the way. That big rotating wall is going to be a big factor in this end game. There's not going to be a lot of space to play, and that wall will be bang in the middle of it. A stunny from Crazy Thieves, who has filled in admirably for Jen Burton, is getting some good damage down here on the Mad Maggie, but not enough to get that first knock. CRT still trying to force their way in towards zone here. They're not going to be safe, and it might be a void passage through the wall here from Verholz that gives them somewhere to play.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty important cue for them, and presumably they're just going to scout it quick. But with Phony should be able to actually be scouting where that cue is going to go and let Verholz know exactly what space they want to occupy before they have to take it, rather than it being a blind cue.
Yeah, you can see that Phony's in the drone at the moment, just trying to scout out where that next play is going to be. In the feed, though, you can see a couple of exchanges in fire. Voderi's going to be taken down. As up on that high ground, Flat will now command the height of Humbert. Down on the low ground, DKK, they're going to queue through here and they're going to catch Gamblers off guard, and there's still more damage in front of them to take advantage of. Gamblers eliminated, Drop to find another one as well. Knock now queues through onto this last player and hits the most beautiful spray you could ever ask for. Zest Fest are eliminated.
Wow, what a play there to be able to not just third party the first, but also get in on the second to make sure they're getting KP from both. Flat will also be eliminated in the meantime, but it's a beautiful move from the buildings there. DKK, he caught off guard here though.
Yeah, a couple of sneaky men of culture just ratting in the corner there, but they deal with them about as effectively as they could have hoped for, to be honest, in that situation. Team Falcons have just been eliminated as well. Drops will be able to get back to his feet, but then the swing is now coming in, and Nox is going to have to do a huge amount of damage. The hipfire has been nerfed, and DKK have been nerfed as well. They are gone.
As you just saw time and time again, I believe that was 5 in a row. The first team to move was going to be in trouble. When you move from the compound builds into low ground on these Humbert Lab buildings, there's not only are there alter queues, but you can simply drop through in these areas, queue back up. It becomes a total mess, and you're seeing teams eliminated one after one. We're into our top 10.
Well, DINOS get a couple of those kills. CRT, though, they're going to look to pull up on them. They know there's a knock that's gone down, and they want to try and take advantage of it. CRT looking for those kills. The res is going to be stuck here. And it looks like they're just going to give this one up and rotate instead, CRT. They are still alive down on that low ground, all of them. And it looks like DJ's going to be able to get his teammates back up. Shopify Rebellion making an evac play now. A couple of shots going their way. And Koi and Zap have both lost their shields here. This is going to be a risky landing.
Yeah, this is what we call sending it on Buckle Boys. Maybe they'll just coexist. Maybe they have info about Kuzme being weak already. We'll see exactly how they want to play this, but they are sending it on this compound.
Just trying to stay alive, trying to stay safe, trying to keep on their feet, and they're not going to be able to do so. Koi is down. Zainu, the healthiest of the two players. Zap barely has any HP to play with, but Zainu does not miss many bullets. That's 2. Shopify Rebellion looking to turn this one on its head, but they cannot do it. Cruel Buckle will move in, and the Buckle Boys will survive.
Wow, almost make it happen. Not an easy push, I gotta say. That was a low percentage, just absolute full send. However, Buckle Boys, they managed to hold the build, and they will be safe for now.
ROC down on this low ground trying to force onto Legacy. The breach charge goes in. That deals with a couple of those caustic barrels that were down, giving them some protection. Sorcerer now going to jump into the drone, maybe try and set up an EMP. As Cersei is going to queue through and try and find that first bit of damage, but Vaxilon's already taken a little bit himself, but Sorcerer with the first knock onto Yanya has given them this opening.
Yeah, Ultra had such an impact already on this game, and you know that that is not over anytime soon. There's going to be so many Ultra Q options for these teams to play into the late game. Team Burger will finally fall.
They will fall. The baby comp doesn't work for them in game number 1. The Maggie Ball, though, is flying forward and is hoping to find some targets. There's one. Vaxilon flips around and finds a target. Oh my! Vax Legacy deleted. Backspace sent to the lobby.
That is textbook Maggie Ball. Throw it down, take the speed boost, and absolutely slay out and frag out on the way. It's a beautiful wipe against Legacy as we get into our top 7 squads.
7 squads now available in this game, in this lobby, to see who's going to be able to step up and take this game number 1 here on E-District. Up on the high ground, you got the DINOS. Car in the hands of DJ Killer as well, and Kimchi's going to find that out himself as a little poke through the staircase. Find some good connection, but just don't want to overextend in this position. They are still safe here.
Yeah, trying to just burn this infinite ammo car, by the way, so he doesn't mind just absolutely spraying every single mag through these staircases. Can afford to do so, and they will look to pounce.
Couple of nades going in as well. Shield's being broken. They're going to swing this at some point. That thermite might do enough damage to really end this fight quickly. DJ Killer gets one. DINOS now retreat to the high ground as HUSS will be eliminated. That is the end of their game, but CRT down at that low ground still, probably thinking about a potential queue up. I'm not sure if they lost Phony in all of this carnage that's gone down, but Verhulst and Stunny seem like they're the last 2 alive.
They have, yeah. Phony is going to be full thirsted, so we'll have to see exactly how they get out of this mess. Now back to ROC playing the same space. CRT finally will be finished, those remaining 2 members, so we're into our top 5.
And it's Cersei and ROC who do queue up and do find those 2 kills. So Unreal Nightmare will go down almost seconds after we see CRT fall, and ROC are maybe looking for a peek here. They don't have many options to get out, but they're going to have to take one of them pretty soon.
By the way, Buckle Boy's playing this late, and the wall is turning right as every single team.
Timing is wonderful.
I was wondering for the last few minutes, when exactly is this wall going to turn? And it's right now. Here comes Buckle Boys.
Here's me trying to finish off these kills, and it will be The perfect timing, not only for the win of the fight, but it stops all of the third-party opportunities coming in. ROC down on their own, though. Down to just one. Cersei is trying to just jolt himself through a couple of these portals to buy enough time to take the attention away, but it's not going to work for him. ROC eliminated, and the wall is rotating, and that is good news this time for DINOS, because they are going to be able to reset here.
The free reset, it's about to go away. It's about to be a straight 3v3.
Krulbuckle with a great spray. He's going to find the first one. It's Chaos. Kuzmi will get the second as well. But Kuzmi now left on his own. It's a 1v1. It's an awkward angle. Couple of knockdowns. Couple of problems. Do you have the solution, Kuzmi? Yes, you do. Buckle Boys, champions at game number 1.
Unbelievable endgame. I think a lot of people were wondering if you were watching anything on the map feed. Buckle Boys was the only team in compound for the entire late game. And I'm just wondering, is this going to be either the greatest, almost like super catwall in history that's going to last awkwardly about 12 seconds or so? Instead, like you said, it allowed for the DINOS reset, but in the end, it just Buckle Boys, they clutch up and take it, and they play the right space, and even though they were down in the fight early, they come out on top with the game win.
It was like the most dramatic curtain call of all time. It's like being at the theater as the curtain finally is raised for the encore for that final fight. It was the timing was beautiful. It was almost poetic the way that game ended, but it is going to be Buckle Boys who played that compound, who held off the push from Shopify Rebellion, remember, to take home game number 1. It's 13 KP as well for them. 25 points. DINOS in behind them with 24. They got 15 kills in that game. So a couple of bombs early on here as Alta will be the first legend to be banned.
Yeah, big games indeed. And taking a look at also ROC, we saw that great Maggie play, which was, like we said, just the exact way you want to be able to play Maggie. It's a straight hallway with limited options out, and boy, did they ever take advantage of that. At the bottom of the table, Falcons exit, to be honest, largely it's a little bit of unlucky pull, right? They played the northern compound. They kind of get gate kept out right around them. Men of Culture and Flat also falling, but it's a very, very solid game openings for Buckle Boys, DINOS, and ROC.
It's one of those games, I think, if you're the rest of the lobby and you look at the top of the leaderboards, it's like, okay, there's a few teams who've had very good games here, but it's not a sharing of the points. It's an opportunity, if they fall out early, Lauren, for us to catch up very, very quickly.
100%. And between Buckle Boys and DINOS with those kills, I mean, the point sponge in this first game alone is kind of insane. I mean, even Zest Fest was on the second page, and I think they still had 9 kills themselves. So there was not a lot to go around for the rest of the squads. That was pretty impressive in a very spicy way. What's going on with the environment today? And the environment doing a lot of the heavy lifting for some of these final circle moments. I mean, insane. But you guys mentioned them as we were taking a look at those standings after the first match. We talked about Falcons. I even mentioned Men of Culture heading into that first match. We're going to do a little bit of a head-to-head here because we talked about the comps and which teams are playing what. These are our more aggressive squads, Mark, and this is where they were after that first match day performance.
Yeah, I mean, 4th versus 5th, but there's a little bit of drama between the two teams. Andy, I know you've been keeping a keen eye on it. You love a little bit of drama yourself. That's why you enjoyed that wall rotating so dramatically in those final moments. But, I mean, catch us up. But there's a little bit of bad blood between these teams.
Yeah, if you've been watching scrims, you know exactly what we're talking about between these two. Take a look at just a little bit of highlights here from, this is going to be your A versus B match number 1 between these teams. And it was those games coming in from Men of Culture. By the way, I do want to point out, we've seen it in the standings, but these two teams actually, of the power rankings between B versus C, it's Falcons edging out Men of Culture due to big KP days from each of them. So coming in with a pretty similar standing, but it was Falcons in the end taking them down in match number 6. But specifically, even as recent as the end of this week, Mark, you're talking about this team, Men of Culture, they're not afraid to run at anyone, Falcons included. And there's been some, I'm not going to put anything out there, by the way. Here's there was a Mirage coming in.
There was a Mirage.
The Mirage games weren't the strongest. However, they still put up big KP on the day. But I'm not going to say who or what, but there have been shooting of death boxes. There has been mid-game trash talk. We're going to continue to see what Men of Culture can do in these lobbies, because so far they have been wreaking the havoc that I think people expected, and that's what they're here to do. They came in with a 6th finish overall in week number 1, and they're going to look to continue just wreaking havoc through the map. There's a reason that Shopify rotates behind them. They're like, get out of the way, and we'll figure it out from here.
You are here. We do not want to head-to-head you at the start of the game. It's interesting. We spoke to Drauga, the Falcons coach, before the match day this this week, and he said the biggest worry he has in lobbies at the moment is the unpredictability of some of the newer teams into the scene. Because they're so difficult to read, and when they're running at you, it causes you problems because you can't account for that sometimes. So it's fun to see how they're getting on. This is them so far today, though, and neither team really with too much to talk about, although Falcons do have at least 2 kills.
Little bit more damage on the board here as well, but I think it's just going to be interesting to kind of pay attention to how the non-baby comp, those aggro comps, are faring in these lobbies. And as we go through our legend bans, are they really going to try to run the Mirage back? It didn't exactly go well last time around. So
could have been a misclick.
I think they ran it multiple games. So
because let me tell you, after game 5, it wasn't getting banned. So if it wasn't a misclick, they would have run a game 6 as well.
So we'll be keeping an eye on that to see how they're feeling about some of those picks. But we're not there yet. That was only the first match of the day, and match number 2 sounds like it is about ready to get underway as well. So let's just keep things going.
Let's keep it rolling. Let's get into this one. Match number 2. E-District's still going to be the location that our teams are going to be dropping into. Alta Bando. And I will say, Andy, we talk about unpredictability. I think a lot of teams are more comfortable playing spots and feeling safe when Alta is out of the lobby.
Yeah, there's so much more to think about, even down to how each individual role and legend needs to play the game, right? Just for an example, in these early games, you're just generally going to see a lot of Alter Caustic Crypto, of course. The way your Caustic has to play buildings is completely different, right? Are you barreling random walls because they happen to be less than 30 meters thick? You have to barrel everything. You have to think about it differently, as you said. So I think you could take a breath, you can realize, and I think you're going to hear it in comms all the time from IGLs. Remember, this is once Alter's banned, the spots become playable differently, as you said, but everyone can just take a breath and realize, okay, these walls matter. The structural integrity of these buildings is important.
I can watch this door, and that's it. I am good. It is it's very stressful, I find, when Alter's in the lobby, because you're just like, it's just constant kind of like fear in the back of your mind. You know, it's the equivalent of like leaving the house, driving about 30 minutes away and going, did I leave the oven on?
Oh, it's
that feeling. Safe. It's like you're sure you didn't, but you might have.
Yeah, not good.
You might have. It's not good. Okay, match number 2 then. That's getting ready to go into this one. Still in E-District, like I mentioned, and we'll have to see where this zone is going to be going this time. So we've had Humbert. Where do you reckon we're going, Andy, if you had to roll the dice?
Okay, well, I tell you what, if history is to repeat itself, we're either getting double Blossom or double the City Hall as of recent.
City Hall. I was going with City Hall. That's why I was thinking we might see a little bit of City Hall, by the way. If that does happen, I can't even see the map yet, so I'm not like pretending that I'm smarter than I am.
Yeah, me neither. But if we look at even last week, just look across all regions, it was double Blossom and it was double City Hall. So there is something right now to everything coming in 2s. We'll have to see if that continues.
All right, players about to jump out of the ship and onto the ground. And interesting to see how heavy the kills were in that first game, Andy. Not surprising, really. If you think about how aggressive a lot of the compositions were that were being run, there was always going to be 1 or 2 teams that would come out with a lot of KP in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming into this game, expecting to see a lot of Seers, a lot of Wraiths in terms of the first Alter ban coming in, of course, and to see if that's exactly going to be the case. Probably still a lot of Cryptos in the lobby overall, but wouldn't be surprised to see a few Seers, and we're getting a bit of info about this game.
I'm waiting for a ring console, everyone, okay? I'm waiting for a ring console, but if you're wondering why I'm giggling...
Here it is. Let's see.
Ooh, okay, I thought it was City Hall to start with, everyone, okay? But it's not. We're going to E-Bank.
We're going E-Bank. And by the way, DINOS is going to be dead center E-Bank. They do not have a console. They only have a beacon. So they're going to find out very quickly, especially from the likes of Galleria, that people are going to be coming, and they're going to be coming fast. CRT will also have console nearby at City Hall, so they'll be making their move very quickly. Also expect teams, DKK going to have one as well. Nice Guys and JDG also going to make their moves very quick.
Okay, everybody who had rigged ready to send in the chats, wherever you're watching, delete it right now. Proof that it doesn't happen, okay? Anyway, let's focus on this zone, and let's focus on E-Bank, Andy. Such a difficult zone to feel comfortable in at any point. Now, Alta is out of the lobby. That makes a big difference. Like you say, you're not going to get queued up on. You're not going to have people queuing through walls. But the fact that we have Wraith as such a popular pick now in these compositions, so many fights in and around E-Bank, there is going to be a portal from a team who's going to extend out and look to pick up a few kills. You have to be so careful in this lobby that if you take a fight, that it is quick and it is clean.
Yeah, let's see. Flat and purple Slushee already kind of getting to know one another around the neon choke into E-Bank. So looks like going to opt out of that fight for now, but damage still coming in. Pluto needs to be careful.
Ooh, Crook is down to a slither of HP. Deeds is feeling a little bit healthier. Pluto Reality is the healthiest of all of them, so he has nothing to complain about. But they're going to stay healthy for now. The one thing that they don't have is Pluto up to blue until right now. That's going to make a difference. Of course, going to have that phase dome now available if he chooses that perk on the Wraith, which is something that we've been seeing a lot of in endgames being tinkered with, some of the tech, Andy, and I'm very excited to see this endgame to see if we see a bit of tech tinkering go down with that phase.
Yeah, I think everyone theory crafted right away when you found out about the phase dome that this is maybe going to bring back OG, and I mean OG season 1 through 3 phase, Wraith late games with portals, and we've already seen it in scrims that you can really milk min-max that phase dome to stay alive in the late game. We'll have to see if that's the case in this game as well.
Well, great example of what I'm talking about, of how you never feel safe in E-Bank, by the way. So many teams trying to rotate, but everybody is already here, and it's just survivability is the name of the game at the moment. And for Purple Slushee, somehow they are still alive. The amount of damage they've been taking on this cross, Deeds is 1 HP for the second time in this game, or should I say a member of Purple Slushee is 1 HP for the second time in this game. But no Newcastle is going to make this a very, very difficult spot to play if they want to. Nice Guys versus Zest. Zest just got eliminated, but Nice Guys now, they're under pressure.
Yeah, trying to hold respawn, a beacon building, and it's never going to be easy, especially this early in the game, as there's going to be a lot of company near them, and they're just going to try to play this slow. Sang and Cody just going to reset, try to get Hambino back up.
Yeah, Hambino is not finished yet, and they are going to stick the res, so it looks like Nice Guys will hold off the push. Those caustic barrels going to contribute to that, of course, and Sang is going to be feeling pretty good about the situation, because not only is he back on his feet, but he's got all of the maximum armor you can get. The over armor being used by him to make sure that in every fight he is as tanky as possible.
Yeah, they will reset. Take a look at their building right here. Of course, the biggest threats are going to be the usual ones in terms of the draft actual fan, that angle that's just a little bit on height, and then everything in front of them. But as long as they watch their back appropriately, they should be able to rain down a lot of damage on Southwest E-Bank.
Elsewhere, HUSS escaping. It always is a little bit creepy when you're on board with a solo player and they're just kind of like just hoping no one sees them. I think he's absolutely fine. He's out of here. Like, he's completely safe. He's going to probably head towards Humbert, where he can craft his teammates' banners and get them back into the game. But with the zone closing, we already saw earlier a deep zone res that cost the entire team their lives. So we're going to have to see if it's going to be a mistake made by HUSS this time, or if they're going to just get a little bit closer to the zone before he brings the teammates back in. Unreal Nightmare. Well, they're on their way towards zone at the moment. They've got Legacy moving through draft point. They've got Shopify on the other side. They might be getting themselves in a little bit of a pinch if they're not careful here. A lot of responsibility on Davis to find out where these teams are on the drone.
Yeah, like you said, that was just Shopify just ahead of them that was thinking about gatekeeping and probably still thinking about it. They're actually going to head to Neon and presumably stop at minimum at Neon for a UAV, Shopify, I mean, and they'll find out a little bit more about Legacy and Unreal Nightmare's routing.
Yeah, it looks like that Shopify Rebellion have moved away. Legacy are going to creep their way towards zone now as well, and everyone is safe for now. On that northern side, you've got Crazy Thieves and Men of Culture having a look at each other, and Crazy Thieves on this height overlooking City Hall, where the end zone isn't. just to reiterate that to everybody. Have a really good spot here to hold both these teams out.
Yep. This is commonly holding this height just to watch every single angle in, like you say, and there shouldn't be too much action here as we take a look around. It's just going to be Men of Culture that's actually north of them. Everything else will be to their front, so that's a specific team that they're holding out. But I do want to point out, in a game where crypto is still available, in a game number 2, MOC actually running the Seer, right? Going for the Seer Maggie Bang. So that just tells you how badly they want to have guns up, they want to be fighting and in your face.
Yeah, it's an interesting composition for sure. It's certainly one that doesn't have a fallback. It's fight or die. It's as simple as that. Yeah. And usually with the amount of utility you have available, you should have an advantage in those fights. MOC, Men of Culture, right at the top of the map at the moment, hitting a ring console over at Lotus. Elsewhere, you can see a couple of teams taking their time to get towards zone. One of those teams, Team Falcons, just left stadium. got a couple of survey beacons to hit on their way in, and eBank hasn't been a favorable zone for them a lot of the time, Andy. They seem to struggle for some reason arriving late to this particular POI.
Yeah, we've really watched a lot of Falcons trying to hold central eBank, and I think it's just such a wide area to try to hold. I'm not surprised to see them. First of all, they're dropping Old Town, like we said, so it's a long path compared to everyone else around them. They will be evacing out. You see them right now finally making their way past Vibe Isle into that eBank choke, but I'm glad to see them playing edge because they have just been, it's so many angles to watch when they're getting into eBank early. I think they might find more success playing it here from edge instead of letting themselves just kind of be in the middle of that mess.
Well, Team Burger, a little bit of a temporary evac, maybe just making sure they time this one a little bit better, making sure they all take it together. In fact, maybe not the evac, maybe it's just going to be the big balloon that's installed for our teams to get across the map. I'd love to see one of those in the middle of a motorway in London.
Yeah,
just to see what kind of carnage. Yeah,
well,
it really
also
would.
I'm picturing you getting to south. How much would it help getting you to the airport instead of sitting in that traffic if you could just big balloon out?
Yeah, I mean, I love the Lizzie line. I mean, for our American friends who are watching and everyone from the Americas, you obviously have very little idea what I'm talking about. To trust me, it will save me a lot of time getting from north to south in London.
Yeah, there's a lot of places I think globally that could use big balloons and also just evac towers and everything in
there's
between.
Another one.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of crowded metropolitan areas, let's go back to eBank as DKK is just kind of holding middle ground here and trying to keep other teams out of this choke. Is going to be HBM, and now taking a look here at Falcons.
Falcons will just about be safe, but I think they're going to have to fight their way forward here. And with purple armors, it wouldn't surprise me if they are feeling confident enough to fight. Here's Guild on our screen, the king of the one-liners, by the way. He's very entertaining when you watch a lot of Falcons POV. But down on this low ground outside of where the zone is at the moment, you've got a fight taking place over at Galleria. You've got Metaculture, you've got HBM, and you've got Gamblers who are wrapping in behind them as well.
Yeah, this is a lot of teams at once condensing on this area, and each of them needing to be careful. You're already seeing knocks in the feed as well.
HBM just holding the choke, just watching all this happen. This is great for them. That wrap has made it a much easier job for them. They will be safe up on this high ground, will be safe in this choke when the zone closes, and for now, the job is simple. Watch what's happening in front of you, take advantage of it, pick up some KP, and force these teams away.
Yeah, you're going to have two different stages of this. The first is going to be who is going to make it out of Galleria right now. As you said, HBM holding the choke so well. They just want to gatekeep this. They can presume that largely due to everything happening in eBank that they don't have to watch their back right now. They will need to upon the move, but let's go ahead and take a look exactly what's going on in the 4 story as we take a look, as well as JDG and Shopify.
Yeah, Shopify taking a little bit of damage down on that low ground, and Floating's actually going to try and push it, but gets taken down. So Shopify Rebellion will hold. It was a portal down, and it wasn't far enough away for Floating to cost him his life, essentially. The Buckle Boys are having a look at this as well. But Shopify will be able, by the looks of things, to stabilize here as in Galleria, as the zone closes, HBM will come out on top.
Yeah, HBM just finally dropping on. HBM, a team that's had a slow start early on, of course, with pretty amazing. We got to hear from them what it meant to qualify to Pro League from this team. A rough match day 1, but they'll be able to, as you say, clear out the bottom of Galleria and try to fight here into the late game and put together a stronger match day 2.
And that was Metaculture falling, by the way. That's our Red Bull first strike of the game. There's 19 squads still alive here. Again, I will reiterate this until my last breath. It's very different to scrims. Very, very different how everyone plays.
Yeah, all of a sudden, everyone plays with just a little bit more on the line. You can feel the stakes without a doubt, but a pretty interesting fight there. HBM going up against Metaculture, as you say.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me for the strange noise, but that's because the zone is pulling straight towards JDG and Shopify Rebellion. The Buckle Boys, again, in a fantastic position here as well, Andy, for this endgame. If they can hold out their northern side, where Gamblers are going to be moving through, they do have a Mythic Being, Gamblers, which is going to help them certainly with a little bit of extra goodies for the arsenal, but it's a good spot for them again. And after a game 1 where they had so much success, Buckle Boys looking good.
It's a really big deal, especially because we didn't mention it last game, but Buckle Boys actually placing 18th last week. So to come away with a game 1 win and now be looking this good coming into what will be the late game here on game 2, they are certainly set up for success if they can execute once again.
Team Falcons versus DKK, and DKK lost knocked, and now How doesn't need to be asked twice to fly in here and try and find a second kill. Drops in this corner, dropped on the core stick, makes it a little bit more difficult. How smartly makes sure he doesn't give anything away and retreats back to his teammates. Wolsey actually spots out a team that's pushing, so all of Falcons retreat to this building knowing the pressure is surrounding them.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and see. It looks like going to be Vatari just outside, maybe ready to pounce, as Vatari and Aveki Metaculture will be sitting just outside of them. We'll keep a very close eye on that, as it's going to be a Metaculture and Falcons battle potentially taking place right around your eastern side, but now on board with Legacy.
I will say, by the way, Metaculture's still in the lobby. I misspoke. It was Zest who fell out first in this lobby, so my apologies to the Men of Culture. They're still alive. DKK cannot say the same, though, as they have fallen second. They are out in 18th position, as 18 squads will now remain. Legacy doing some good damage, and they will have to continue to do so here, as the zone is closing behind them. Hambino last alive, barely any HP. They look like job done here for Legacy, but where do they go next?
Yeah, that's it. They're trying to watch to make sure any team's coming out of respawn beacon. Hambino actually wraps around. Yanya knows it.
Away.
And Yanya and Jaguars are trying to find exactly where he might go. They should have the angle. Just should be a moment away, and they should be able to get the Finn.
Oh, should be. Should be doesn't mean will be. Hambino's still alive. He is juking. Finally, nice guys will go down. Jaguars will get that final bullet into the back of Hambino, and that will be the end of Nice Guys. Men of Culture have been eliminated, so thank you to the Apex gods for making my correction short-lived, as Men of Culture will fall. And JD Gaming, still on this building, by the way, that they held for so long, will be inside of this next zone as well, which is shifting slightly to the west.
I'm sure you saw it there, but a big shout out to our observers and everyone in the back here just keeping an eye on that battle. It was once again Falcons taking down Men of Culture, so that rivalry is not only not ending soon, but continuing to be added to.
At the moment, Team Burger are getting peppered, and this is an interesting composition matchup between those two teams. You've got Team Burger, Newcastle, and Gibraltar, and on the other side, you've got Falcons, who are running a much more aggressive-looking composition. Inside of E-Bank, though, itself, the main central structure, a couple of teams having a poke at each other. One of those is ROC.
Yeah, ROC is going to be happy to have the inside here. Even with the crypto as well, they can very clearly watch their corners where they might need to go, but here's the Falcons move.
Yeah, they've already managed to find two by the looks of things. Team Burger have just been deleted. That is the end of their game, but a lot of utility has been used by Falcons in the meantime to do so. Guild, no caustic of ult available for him. The EMP used by Waltzy as well. So a lot of their offensive utility has been put into that fight to take out Team Burger.
Yeah, well earned, and they're going to, as you say, have to wait just a little bit before they make their next move into zone. But for now, they will be into your top 15. But like you said, lobby quality quite different than we might have been watching around 5 p.m. Central each night. 15 quads still left here in zone 4 as the close is about to begin.
CRT moving in here. They found a knock onto Louis from flat. He's going to be able to get back through a portal. Not sure where that ends up. Or maybe it was an extension from them. But on this western side, Louis coming back. As is Qzia. Slushee eliminated in the meantime. Verhos can't, I think Verhos can't quite believe what's happening. Flat are eliminated. That's a donation, we'll call it.
It's just absolutely back and forth as CRT will kind of skedaddle out of that. I've got bad news. Falcons cannot resist. They find themselves at Central E-Bank once again. They go south for it, but this time it might pay off.
Well, Jelly's only 1 HP, and even though he's in the void, he's not going to survive this one. One player still alive on the opposition team as Falcons will start to fight their way through lobby. Unreal Nightmare will be eliminated. HUSS will fall as well, as Waltzy has to get healthy here, but Hal is just doing such a good job of being aggressive and forcing teams away.
Yep, still 3 more teams here, though. A lot more work to be done as they lose Waltzy. It's going to be up to Hal and Guild to fight their way out of this or look for the reset.
I'm going to poke in on this one. Hal and Guild will have to see this one out as a duo, as Waltzy cannot crawl towards zone. No repeat of that famous Game 7 from Sapporo with the greatest crawl of all time from Waltzy. CRT still alive, though. Still doing a lot of damage here.
Yeah, and this is going to be difficult. Guild going to try to wrap the corner at the same time. They need to swing this together, but Verhos with very, very good damage as Stunny looks to clean up. Falcons will be eliminated. They fall victim to Central E-Bank yet again.
Yes, I mean, Falcons out of the game. Good KP, decent placement points as well, but Stunny's got to be careful here because Cersei's having a look at this one. Stunny with a great spray, though, will be good enough defensively to force them back as ROC looked at third party there. But, I mean, you've got to give the man credit. Stunny has stepped up as the substitute for this team. He's got a lot of experience at the highest level of Apex, and he's showing it right now.
Yeah, a lot of things to be said about them. For them to come out of match day number 1 in 10th place, you really can't ask for more from a sub, especially who hasn't been playing Pro League in such a long time. We'll see if they can continue on here. They've already secured top 8 as they look to try to stay alive, but it's an ROC swing.
Yeah, this is ROC swinging, and that Hemlock is cutting people down. One player left alive here. Crazy Thieves, though, not going to be able to get out of that situation. And now Vaxelon turns his attention to the portal behind him. Cersei is down. Vaxelon is on his own. And it looks like this might be the end of the game here for ROC. Vaxilon's got to hope that he can survive.
Oh, he tries to play the Nox, but Adoivan, I think, wants to find out about it, but actually decides he's not going to chase that. So he actually will be able to get himself back up and presumably at least the res on Sauce.
Yeah, wait a minute. They might be able to get out of this one. JDG, who have been in the penthouse of this building for the entire game, now have some neighbors on the adjacent floors to them. But having this high ground at this point, with everyone having to rotate in, 7 squads still alive in the lobby.
Yep.
They should be able to find a little bit of damage here. With the scout in the hands of Floating, it's almost the perfect weapon outside of the Kraber to do damage.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at the comp as well. The fact that they're on Wraith, Caustic, as well as Crypto is going to give them really good late game rotation options. Their biggest threat is Gamblers, who controls the entire western side.
RSC don't make it out. Rock Esports have been eliminated, so the hero reset isn't going to happen. Gamblers, though, like you mentioned, have a lot of space. Over half of the zone belongs to them on this western side. Lascivian trying to do what he can to force teams back, to take that attention away. That zone is going to close behind them very soon. They might have to look for a Wraith portal at some point just to find a safe spot.
Yeah, we'll need a TP. By the way, you did see they did have EMP, so they can use that to buy space. Preferably, though, they would save that for the late game. Not use that yet on this move. They'd rather get in safely and have the EMP ready for that final battle.
Well, infinite ammo on the Hemlock and infinite ammo on the car is certainly something you want in this situation. He's just going to be able to rain down bullets on everybody who looks at you. Deviant now goes up into the skies on that drone to see what the next play is going to be. Deviant lines up that portal. This is a big moment here for Gamblers to find a spot to play.
Yeah, let's see exactly what he can find. Along the walls, he should be able to find at least the first port. The first TP should be safe. It's the move thereafter that's going to be the really complex one. And how do they wrap the wall, or how do they climb?
You can see he's just holding onto that portal as well, making sure that phase dome is up. But it stays there until you drop this portal. And he's holding on for as long as possible. Finally has to drop it. Everyone else is going to join him. This is Shopify Rebellion in the line of sight, and Koi has to jump into the void to survive.
Yeah, nice Q from Koi. We'll have to see if it buys them enough time, though. They want to wrap this. They want to wrap Shopify if they can. Skynade's going in.
Skynade's going in. EMP's going off. It'll be Buckle Boys who are eliminated, but another good game for them in game number 2. Maybe not the finish they would have wanted, but good points on the board. But Shopify are taking damage. Koi is down. Zainu is down, Shopify are down. JD Gaming now make their move.
Here's the move from Floating. He sets TP, now has to queue around the back. Might give them a very good angle here if he can.
Very interesting. He chooses the perk, which is the double jump and longer into the void timing, so he can take the time to get that port into position, not taking the quick queue.
Ooh. Trying to finish with the cars. They're now going to hold this backspace. And like you said, that quick queue is going to give them just the option to wrap here, but now in the center of the action, not where you want to be.
Yeah, Revival go down. 3 squads remaining. Gamblers just shooting everything in their way at the moment. Owning this much of the zone is so strong, especially when you've got Caustic barrels down. It's Legacy who are across from them. JDG still alive, by the way, Floating the last remaining player. Zephyr's trying to move up onto this, get some barrels down to deal with Legacy before they turn their attention to the solo.
Yeah, let's go ahead and see exactly. Zephyr had good barrels up, as you said, as they try to wrap this, though they will go down.
Floating as the solo causes problems, and Gamblers have just thrown away a win here, as Jaguares and Co, alongside the solo of Floating, will combine together. Legacy get the win in match number 2, but Floating was such an influence on that endgame.
Yeah, absolutely wreaked havoc there. Like you said, that should have been a much more straightforward fight, but instead it's Legacy who just plays that balcony for just a second. Even though they were getting barrels tossed up, as you said, from Zephyr, Legacy just plays it cool. They make sure to wrap that. They don't take any early damage on that entry, which was big, even though the barrel gas was ticking. They timed that really nicely, but I think you pointed out perfectly. If we look at those last 7 players or so, Floating was the one that was really causing the chaos.
Yeah, he was causing a lot of problems, and I have to do this for Vicky. Vamos! Legacy, 10 KP alongside the 12 placement points, 22 points for them. JDG in behind them as well. They had a fantastic spot in that zone, and the solo play on the Wraith from Floating in that endgame really showing what the perk choice can do on that purple perk for Wraith. It's a very interesting decision for players to have to make now. Some players still favor the quick queue, some players still started to favor the double jump and longer time that you can spend in the void to avoid damage. So interesting that he chose that double jump and the longer time into the void, and I think that was a difference maker there, Andy.
Yeah, I think it was as well. That's something you were picking on even during the EMEA games, wondering exactly, especially when you look at a player like Nono, what was he running in that late game as well. We didn't get to see it first person, but here's a look at the series results so far after 2 games. Taking a look at Buckle Boys, going to be happy, like you said, Mark, all the way up here in first place after 2 very good performances.
Yeah, good KP, good placement. I think that one thing to point out, though, is how close it is after 2 games. Nobody getting away from the rest of the lobby. The only player, or should I say the only legend that's getting away from the lobby at the moment is going to be Crypto. He's going to be banned game number 2 here as we take a look at Shopify Rebellion. 2 kills overall. Not a huge amount of damage. Good amount of damage taken, and 14th in points overall. Andy, what is up with Shopify Rebellion?
I think that's the question, right? If you take a look, I spent a lot of time actually in their comms from match day number 1, and it was a tough mix of games for them. I think in some games they're getting into to buy free thinkers. In other games they're a little bit hesitant on the exact call they're making. I don't think they were all on the same page at the exact time of the move that they needed to make. It looks like that has bled into day number 2 as well. Important to note, though, we still have a majority of the games left on the day, so Shopify can certainly still turn this around.
Yeah, got into a good spot in that end game and just couldn't quite convert it. It's difficult to move from that low ground up to the height at time, but eyes on Shopify Rebellion in this game number 3 that's going to be coming up after this break to see if they can turn their fortunes around. It's been a rough start for them. We'll have to see if the regional finals champions from last year will be able to step back up as we head towards our break.
Red Bull is giving wings to the ALGS and the Apex community.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Everybody, as we prepare to dive into match number 3 here on day 3 of the Americas here in Split 1. Very exciting first 2 matches with some interesting ending there. I'm not gonna lie, when you guys were casting that, Mark, I really thought that Gamblers had that one in the bag in match number 2.
Yeah, that's maybe an example of a little bit of lack of experience in those final moments, right? You know there's a solo, and they knew there was a solo available, alive still in that game for a potential KP, but also could have an influence on the lobby. And I think they got a little bit stuck on what decision they had to make. They felt like they maybe had good damage onto Legacy and tried to push that, then deal with the solo. But then Legacy did a good enough job of holding them off, and the damage that came in from the solo in floating just made it a little bit of a, oh God, what do we do in this situation? We kind of feel the game slipping through our fingers, and you end up just kind of doing nothing. So it's maybe experience thing for them in that situation. I think if they were to run that one back, they would like to play it a little bit differently, but it's still not a bad game for them. The Gamblers with 17 points.
Yeah, lots of KP on the board as well. And shout out to Floating or just JD Gaming in general. We haven't really gotten a chance to highlight them today yet, but after we saw them in match day 2 for their first showing, they were a team that ended up in 5th. They were tied for points with Team Burger after their last performance. So nice to see them up here in whatever capacity in the top 3 as well. And of course, obviously, we're matching comps across the board with our top 3.
Yeah, matching comps, everybody running the Caustic, Wraith, and Crypto. Crypto now banned, so that's going to be, I think for everyone who's playing Crypto at the moment, it's always a smile on their face as they get to spend more of the game with their gun up as opposed to on the iPad. But for everybody else, it's going to mean that they're going to be a little bit safer on their rotations, knowing that those drones aren't going to be up in the sky, Lauren.
Which also, of course, means that as we head into this next match, it is our last match before we change maps, but I brought them up before. We're getting a little bit of an extra look here at JD Gaming. Floating, Stay Naughty, and Shubi. Like I mentioned, they were a team that had a pretty decent showing last time around, especially when you consider that the top of that leaderboard for the day was NIP with 61 points, and they were at 46. So they actually did pretty well because NIP had that big gap above the rest of the lobbies. We get to take a look at some of these stats as well, Mark.
I think I saw a tweet from Shubi a little bit earlier before the match day saying feeling good today, which is always a nice bit of positive energy to put out there, and they're feeling pretty good after 2 games as well. You can see in the overalls they're looking pretty good. In the points they're looking pretty good. You know, it's not too bad for them. I think that they maybe would have hoped they could do a little bit more in that previous game, maybe come home with a win, but the fact that Floating clutched up for them and managed to get a 2nd place and really influence that end game to make something out of nothing, those kind of games can add up when you get to the end of a lobby, and it's impressive to see them performing so well in game 1 and 2.
100%. And we've seen in both EMEA and now in the last match as well, what a savvy solo can really do, getting themselves into those top 2 moments and getting more of those placement points on the board, because being able to kind of min-max a bad situation is something that will matter when it comes to a LAN, when it comes to any sort of high pressure situation. So it is at least nice to see those clutches coming through out of some of these different squads as well. But I mean, we're waiting for our players to get locked and loaded here for match number 2 as we take a look at the winners of our last match, a team that was able to turn it around in their favor. Legacy, El Presidente. I mean, this new look squad, they look good.
I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time for these guys to find their chemistry. We were talking a lot about Alliance, right? Well, you got Gyozi, who's going to be joining them, and that's going to take time for them to find that kind of mesh, that chemistry, like we mentioned, in those team fights and how they want to approach the game. But it's a good start for them. 3rd overall at the moment, but still a lot of Apex Legends to play. And I think from watching scrims as well, I think there's certainly been some decisions made in the mid game, which I think that the coaches will be looking at, that they'll be looking back at and thinking maybe we could have played that maybe more conservatively, maybe we were just a little bit too inty looking for kills in those situations. But the way they played that end game, they played really tight together, and I think they recognized that if they played tight together, they could output the damage to potentially win that game. So Legacy showing some improvements, and I'm excited to see how they end up at the end of today, not just after 2 games.
And I feel like this is a squad, at least in my opinion, and Yanya specifically, that always feels like they have something to prove time and time again, whether it is these online splits or when we catch them at LAN. We have constantly had so many good things to say about them, but they've never been able to, I feel like, reach that full potential for themselves, even to the point where if you go back as recent as you know, champs where they are liquid, then they get dropped for a different liquid roster, then outplace that roster at LAN. I mean, this is a team that's constantly fighting to prove just how good they are. And I feel like when you get these moments where now they're a new look roster and they're starting to settle in and we can see that there is that promise there, it feels good to see out of them.
Yeah, I agree. I think Legacy, kind of the consummate underdog of the ALGS. They give us some of the most exciting and heart-wrenching moments as well. You know, your pulse is always going to be rising when you're watching Legacy, for example, in those elimination bracket finals where they go on these crazy runs in a game 6 to qualify for match point finals. They are known for it, but they need to find a bit more consistency. We're heading into game 3 now, Lauren, though, and the last time we're going to see E-District here. So for all the teams who are looking forward to playing E-District, this is your last chance to get those points on the board.
It'll be interesting to see what we get here for our last final circle as well on E-District 4 today for match day 3 across all of our regions. As we prepare to dive in, I also want to take a look at what that means for our legends now that we've got both Alter and Crypto out of the discussion, because it's looking like Maggie might be the predominant pick.
Yeah, some Maggies in here, a lot of Wraith as well, a touch of Gibby, who's kind of introducing himself very, very slowly into the lobby, but I'm seeing quite a lot of Seer as well, which is interesting for a match number 3 as well. The crypto ban, of course, is going to influence that, being able to get that information, use that heartbeat sensor to find out where those teams are around you, and also it's a great counter to any legend who has abilities, right? If you can hit those cues, then you really are going to slow a team down who is maybe looking to Gibby bubble, like the likes of Legacy Will or Yanya playing the Gibraltar in this game, or stop those Maggie drills just flushing towards you, causing you problems.
Yeah, with what is it, 11 Maggies right now in the lobby, that could be a little bit scary when it comes to final circle moments, depending on how many are alive and how many wrecking balls could be coming through as we get our first look here at where that circle is going to be going. We're going east with it, which is definitely going to work in DKK's favor.
Oh, as if things couldn't get worse for Shopify Rebellion. It looks like only 2 players in the lobby for them at the moment.
No.
So when it rains, it pours for Shopify Rebellion, but sometimes the adversity can really make you stronger, and this is the most adverse of situations for them. Where the zone is going, though, we are going out towards Stadium, potentially a little bit outside of that. It's an interesting zone for teams to try and decide where it's going to be pulling, but for the Stadium team in Nice Guys, they do have a ring console, but they're taking their time to get over there. They're looting the outside first, and there's already teams arriving like Unreal Nightmare from that southern side in Humbert.
They will have the information that they're looking for. Moving on in here, and honestly, Nice Guys could do well for themselves to set up as close to the eastern edge of that ring as possible and kind of watch the rest of the squads that are already rotating in and try to level up their evos from there, because people are moving quickly and they're going to be grabbing that real estate, knowing that it's going to continue kind of shifting a little bit further that direction. As we get to check in with HUSS, see what they're doing, what plans they have as they're moving through draft point right now on their pathing.
One team who's gotten a great spot once again is Buckle Boys. It's been 2 really good games for them as far as getting to a great spot in zone. Obviously, they won game number 1. They were in a really good spot in game number 2 as well, but couldn't really convert positioning into maybe the points total that they would have wanted. But they are, again, deep in the zone early. Flat also, at the moment, trying to find their way a little bit further into the zone, but they are bang center of it. I think they want to try and get a little bit deeper towards Stadium if they can, but looks like they're going to set up for now on this triple building.
No reason not to. They do have quite a few squads in the area as well, so just give themselves a little bit of a reprieve. They'll be safe for a decent amount of time, and those fences will keep most people away from them as we check in on this rotate. Drop takes a little bit of damage across the way. The catwall does go down to assist in making a safe cross of that street. And I'm wondering if Revival's gonna see if they can maybe continue pushing DKK.
And they're moving up. I think when they want to try and get control of one of these shops, or certainly the building a little bit deeper, the shops underneath are going to be pretty good to move from. It's kind of a checkpoint along the way for them, so to speak. Maybe waiting for that catwalk to come back is going to be a safer play for them. Nice Guys above them, and the Buckle Boys right at the back here. Kind of gives you a lay of where the deep part of the zone is going to be pulling. Elsewhere, though, Gamblers and Crazy Thieves are very close to each other. And it looks like Crazy Thieves spotted them out and have decided, nope, we don't want none of that. We're going to just take ourselves down towards Energy Bank, which is completely free at this point in the game, by the way, which is just always weird to see. Nobody in Energy Bank, well, that central POI that everyone moves to. Phase Dome down inside of that bubble. Looks like another team is looking to rotate in deep into zone. It's going to be the Zest Fest boys who are trying to move up, and they are going to find out the DKK are in this building.
This is a tough corner right now as Zestfest is trying to survive the barrage of damage that is coming their way. Able to kind of give themselves a moment of reprieve, but they are surrounded. I mean, they've got Falcons in the area, DKKs in the area. We saw Buckle Boys, Nice Guys over there, and so many other squads are moving in this direction in anticipation of the ring shifts that there is just so much congestion right now.
I mean, if you look at the map overhead, it is quite something at the moment. And outside the stadium, you can see a couple of teams having a fight, and one of them is going to be flat having a look in onto this. Down on that low ground, Purple Slushee trying to survive for now. FaZe Dome is going to go down. Crook's going to try and escape and get his teammates into a safer position. But those Watson fences just speak danger to me. So he turns his head, turns around, and says, "This is the best I can do for you boys." Here comes Nano.
I mean, it got them a new spot, but not for long, as Nano's trying to see if maybe a little bit of an off angle could be found from this top down. Able to find it and connect beautifully. This could open an opportunity to maybe follow up on this. It does force them out of position, and now they're way out in the open.
And Nano's going to be pretty frustrated with that. He hits a really good spray. He hits 2 players to 1 shot, and then another team who were in that choke decide to shoot him. And he's like, okay, I was going to help you out here, guys, but I guess I'll go back to the rest of my teammates. Flat will survive, and Flat will thrive in that situation, but not with any KP. 20 squad's still alive, by the way. The only teams outside of zone for now, ROC, Men of Culture, Legacy, who are in zone at Street Market, Team Burger, HBM are moving their way in, and JD Gaming, who are just kind of hovering, waiting for third beacon information.
And technically JD Gaming are, you know, close enough that they can make one little quick shift in and they're good to go. I mean, everyone
skip and a jump, I feel like is a
literally
as an apt term for how close they are to the next zone.
Purple Slushee though, set up near DINOS. Flat still in that vicinity as well. This is going, and this is what I was talking about. If we continue to stay with this many teams as we move through to the next circles, we're going to end up with like 7 wrecking balls at once.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough for someone, because I mean, we jokingly talk about, you know, the Maggie Ultimate, the Wrecking Ball, and how unpredictable it can be in certain situations. It's unpredictable enough when it's your own. When there's 6 or 7 flying around in these buildings, it's like being stuck inside of a giant pinball machine. There really is not a way to get away from it. Everyone's going to be stunned. Everyone's going to be up in the air. It's going to be quite something to watch. That map overhead, by the way, if you were wondering what I was talking about, you get the idea now. Everybody is in a building. There are still floors available in some of those bigger buildings. So there's places like Team Burger, Crazy Thieves, Men of Culture can find a little bit later on, but threading the needle is going to be difficult.
I kind of hate looking at this right now.
It's the impending doom that's kind of like in the back of your head. Yeah, I feel you on that one.
And as we say that, HBM, one of our teams that hadn't made their way in yet on their rotation, does run across Team Burger, who instantly decide to back off. Don't want to force this fight yet. They do have, like you mentioned earlier, Energy Bank wide open, center of the map to make a safer rotation through. And that's what Team Burger opts to do, leaving HBM alone in Galleria.
I mean, Team Burger don't have to fight, right? They've run in full baby comp. They've got Valk, Gibby, Newcastle. They don't have to worry about the zone until later on. They are just playing for purple. They've done exactly that. They got themselves up to purple. They're going to have that 3 Gibby ults available. They're going to have the quick ult into the skies as well on the Valkyrie. So they're chilling. They don't have to take fights. They don't want to take fights at this point because they're pretty much unkillable on this composition. So they nope out. They take another serene stroll through Energy Bank and they'll think about their next rotate. DINOS, though, a little bit more pressure coming onto them. They have found themselves in one of these shops deep inside of zone, right at the back. And this could be a really good spot for the endgame.
I wish I saw how they managed to get in here from where we last caught up with them. But they've at least found some safety for now, having moved through at least 4 or 5 squads in order to do that. So impressive rotation there out of DINOS. Now checking in with Men of Culture, who've come across Flat. Trying to see if they can maybe connect here with some early nades or maybe a breach charge available here.
Ooh,
nice.
Nade's doing damage. I mean, the bang ult signaled the intention of Men of Culture. Maybe it's to take... Oh, I was going to say one of the floors, but that spray from Aveki may have changed the situation from can we have a floor to can we have the building?
I don't think that they were ready to get pushed like that. Flat instantly backs off. Aveki trying to see if he can move up through the doorway and find another angle to follow up on that damage, or if too much time has passed and the heals have come through. Decides to move in, take some damage in response, but does get the knock. and it did not trade in their favor.
Yeah, Man of Culture. That's a rough one. He made the decision to fight when they didn't really have to. And now Flat have to reset because RSC are like, well, I mean, if we can third party, we'll third party. 2 players from Flat have managed to get fully healthy. QZ is not too far off as well. So RSC might have to rethink this push as QZ is going to slide down and do good damage onto Sorcerer here, who now has to bat.
And that is the danger of these fights when everyone is so close to being on top of each other. Vaxlon doing some damage to see if they can maybe push in now for ROC. Nice! Instantly out of Saucer as well. And this is a quick cleanup for ROC. Loot. They've got loot everywhere now. They've got some space to hold. There's that solo escaping, but that doesn't matter right now. They've got the space.
I mean, a great fight from ROC. You saw how easy it was to just move in and finish those kills off. For Cersei, that double tap alternator up close is so devastating. And you saw it in its best situation there. Just ripping through players' shields and really putting the pressure onto Flat. So ROC will now control the tallest building in this area. Legacy at the other side of zone at the moment. Just trying to exchange a little bit of fire here over at Vibe Isle, but got to be careful here, Yanya. A couple of shots coming in. Just going to chip away at his shield. Stuff has the power booster amp on the Gibby as well. So that bubble's going to be coming back every 8 seconds, which is pretty crazy.
Mark, I don't know if you caught the next zone shift, but I think everyone is a little bit upset about it.
All right, okay. Let me tell you, everyone. When you see it, I have not seen this zone in a while. Okay, that's what I'm going to say.
I think the lobby agrees with you based off of where everybody started to set up shop. That's going to be a tough one as Crazy Thieves are finding some picks here for themselves. They're going to have to be deciding where they want to set up shop.
They could be in Godspot pretty soon.
Right?
I'm trying not to spoil it because I want everyone to see it at the same time who's watching at home. But this is a very strange zone pool. And those shops that we were seeing a lot of those teams play down on that low ground are going to be very good. Crazy Thieves, they're waiting at the moment to see where the zone pulls. And let me tell you, there's going to be some smiles on their faces. No smiles, though, for Purple Slushee. They will be the second team out in this lobby. 18 squads still alive here. As the zone will be popping pretty soon.
It moved again.
There's the zone, by the way.
It moved
Top
again.
left.
And you guys are getting an opportunity to see that they're on the minimap while Team Burger is finding themselves pinched between DKK and Zest Fest. But this is now kind of working in their favor.
Well, CRT having a fight inside the stadium at the moment. It's going to be against our previous game winners, Legacy. Phony with some good damage on the Maggie as well. Sends the right drill in. A couple of thermites to follow up as well. And with a tick and a Maggie ball about to cause some carnage, but the timing half a second off from being perfect there. He holds that Maggie ball half a second longer. And that Gibby bubble just got destroyed. But the Gibby bubble goes down and the Maggie ball does not have the impact that Phony would have hoped for. That's the zone, by the way. I was going to say, when I looked at the zone pop, I was like, there's no zones in stadium. Like, inside a stadium, I'm like 99.9% sure. No zones inside of the stadium POI itself. It always pulls on the outside. But that pull down, the one just before the zone we see next, I was like, wait a minute. Have I missed one? Is there a zone in here? And I was like, no. I've played enough. I've watched enough to know that there's not. That zone makes slightly more sense, but look at where everyone is. There's nowhere to play in this zone.
It's a little bit painful for all of these teams, and since we're literally still at 18 squads alive somehow, Mark, as all of these teams are forced to collapse in a very difficult to play area, this is where things are going to get messy.
I mean, Shopify Rebellion have just lost one as well. Gambler's just been eliminated. HBM will take them out of the lobby. 29 seconds until Vibe Isle becomes unviable for these teams. Zap is up on the height, and he's getting shredded as well. Perfection's going to have to break a few windows. I hope he doesn't break his ankles as he lands as well, but he will do that. And Zap is trying to pull off something special here. Koi, he's going to stay alive as well. And as a duo, Shopify Rebellion win that fight, but that's all they're going to be able to do. Unfortunately, they get held out. Shopify Rebellion, a couple of points from the game. You'll take it if you're a duo. But again, just compelling the misery for them at the moment.
Definitely a tough situation for them. Able to make the best, you know, lemonade with lemons here for them as we check in with Buckle Boys, who had, we thought, moved into a really solid position, now find themselves on the outskirts with quite a few squads in between them and the next safe circle, as we see that Falcons are down to a solo. Just Hal is keeping them alive.
Yeah, JDG just got eliminated as well, which with my accent, by the way, is very, very difficult to say. JDG. Okay? Just wanted to put that out in case I mess it up a few times, but Crazy Thieves, 8th place overall at the moment, and now find out that they have to leave Stadium. A team who's holding them out is going to be Unreal Nightmare. Hal is down on that low ground, by the way, underneath, just pretending that he's not there. He's just doing his best invisibility impression. Crazy Thieves, though, they do have the Seer. Old buddy, old pal, it's good to see you again, says Verholst as he puts Falcons back into the spectator screen and back into the lobby.
Nothing Hal could really do there, especially with everyone, that entire team coming around the corner at the same time for Crazy Thieves. So able to make their moves though through Stadium, like you were talking about, safely, and pick up some KP in the process. Meanwhile, DINOS still in the same exact area as Nice Guys, trying to time when they are about to leave the safety of their building.
I feel for Hal in that situation. Just like, right? You found a spot to play, you're a solo, and then you hear the hands of Seer, and you're like, well, this is useless. I'm just going to die now at some point. And that's the end of their game. Phony and the rest of Crazy Thieves, though, they're going to take that every single day of the week as they try and force their way forward. 30 seconds on zone. Verholst swapping targets with that Hemlock, expertly so. But how do they get out of this situation? That's the real question. The Maggie Ball might do a lot of damage on the cross here, but doesn't connect again. That's 2 out of 2 that really haven't done everything it needed.
This is a tough spot for them to be in. They're trying to see if they can maybe pick up some KP down here in these trenches. Ooh, they're taking a lot of damage. Oh, Verholst, the only one that's still got a little bit of health to really be working with. Somehow, Stunny is still alive. I say that, though, and instantly it's just down to Verholst. Crazy Thieves finding themselves in a rough spot.
Yeah, well, ROC will actually pick up the majority of those kills, and Verholst is still alive, and I'm not sure if ROC realize what they will now, because they've got Seer, and those hands will go back out. Nice Goes eliminated as well, as finally the lobby just starts to thin out a touch. 10 squads now remain. Verholst is still alive, somehow. Where? Sorcerer's got to get them hands up.
Is he?
Maybe he's Seer-proof. No, Sorcerer is...
Okay, yeah, all right.
Going to prove that... Verholst! This is Verholst we're talking about. Buckle Boys have gone.
I mean, as soon as that happens, everybody else drops down from ROC to try and clean up on Verholst. Revival's eliminated while all of that is happening, and ROC will finally clear out that space. But that was almost an insane clutch on behalf of Verholst.
Yeah, that would have been quite something. It's the mistake you only make once, is falling down and challenging Verholst behind a knockdown shield. It doesn't go well for many players in Apex Legends history, and it does not go well on that occasion for ROC. They get away with it, and now we're going to see one team who might benefit massively from how weird this zone is and how much of a lack of playable area there is. Flat have been eliminated in the meantime, but Team Burger in the skies can land, bubble, and wall wherever they want to. They can survive anywhere in this zone with this comp.
And we see them landing right there on that overhead. They are able to get a decent spot.
Wait! I think they might have got Seer queued as they landed.
No.
And they couldn't use any of their abilities.
Well, they're still alive. They at least managed that much, as ROC is now looking the way of Team Burger, who are also in it with DINOS right now. This wall kind of creating a little bit of separation, but not for long.
DINOS eliminated in the meantime. ROC seeking their way forward. This has been a really, really strong game for them as well. Cersei takes a little bit of damage. Oh, he's in the zone. He's too deep. That nade hurts. And ROC, who are having a great game, have been met by Gibby ults and a grenade that lands at the feet of Cersei and sends him deep into zone. Team Burger have reset. This is the reset ability of this comp.
Not only have they reset, but they've managed to set up shop around a Jenny that is not theirs.
That'll help.
That's
Respawn
insane.
comes in, by the way, from the skies. Yunya and Legacy now trying to take this fight inside of the bubble. Jelly's going to be pushing Yunya. Barely any HP to work with. That'll be the end of Legacy, you would imagine, very soon. And now you're seeing the strength of the baby comp. They survive here, Team Burger, when all look lost.
Oh, amazing job trying to play around the edge of that bubble. And in the end, Burger, with all of the additional defense at their disposal, is able to survive the Seer queue and bring home match number 3. I mean, that is insane.
Now, there is a reason we talk about certain things on this program, gents and ladies, and that's because Team Burger, baby comp, that's what it can do in those kind of zones where you're sitting there at home and you're looking at it and you're going, there's absolutely no way to survive in this. 2 players go down. They get CQ, but 1 stays alive behind the knockdowns. One of those players is a Newcastle or a Gibby. You have a chance to reset, and reset they do. 13 KP, 12 placement points from that first place finish, 25 points overall. That is baby comp at its best. That is baby Burger comp. That's what now I'm calling it.
Is that kind of like a slider?
Do you know what? That reminds me of a time that I ordered what can only be described as a suitcase full of sliders on a night out. Okay? That was in America, obviously. Where else would it be? They were delicious.
That's apropos for the region that we're in right now, as Team Burger comes out on top. We get to take a look at the series results here as well. That means Legacy and ROC moving up in the rankings, and Team Burger making a massive jump, 14 places up.
Look how close it is, though. It's just a few points between everyone at the halfway point here. I mean, 3 games done. That's going to be the end of E-District for today, but 36, 33, 32, 31, 27. There's barely anything between our top teams, and it really is in a wonderful spot, this series, to set up these next 3 games. And, I mean, it's all to play for is the cliche, but it applies here beautifully.
I think I'm having a little bit too much fun right now with the series, because I am loving everything we're getting out of our squads right now. Now that means we are done with E-District, and we will be switching maps as well. Before we do that, though, it is time for the halftime show, and we're going to be welcoming a special guest, Jace TV, to hang out with us. So before we get into that, we're going to send it to a short break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Sony InZone, the official audio and monitor partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Charged and ready.
Quit farting about, would you?
Just give me a shot and I'll shine like the sun.
Follow me. Can't catch what you can't see. Enemy drone here. My light shines bright.
Hey, let's have fun, friend.
Beauty is pain.
This is gonna be fun, brother.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time for our halftime halftime show, our players get themselves rested and ready to dive into the last 3 matches of the day. Glitter, Explosion, Onset, and Bravo ready to hang out with you for our halftime show. And Bravo, before we do anything, I want to get your thoughts on what we just saw out of that last match.
How about it? Yeah, talk about, okay, we either get double EDAM zones or you get 2 of the crazier zones we've seen in a long time on E-District. That one, by the way, I confirm, that is a never-before-seen ALGS zone. That, of course, has been a zone for a little while, but that was the first time in ALGS play, whether Pro League or LAN, that's ever landed there, and maybe for good reason. But hey, like, we just heard that the scriptwriters decided it needed to end there so that we could show off why teams like Team Burger are running baby comp. And like you guys talked about so perfectly, there's a reason that comp is run, and there are going to be game situations where that is going to succeed a lot, and that's a perfect example of that.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot, and we're gonna, see if we continue with the chaos for the rest of our series in just a few minutes. For now, it's time to bring in Jace, variety gamer, content creator, Apex enjoyer. Jace, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Welcome.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Now, can you do me a quick favor real quick and just give yourself a little bit of an intro to anybody in chat who might not know who you are?
Of course. Hi, I'm Jace. I've been playing Apex since season 12, so I'm not a pro by any means, but it's a game that I love and I'm totally here for and enjoy watching.
Well, obviously you make content around the game as well. We're very excited to have you and kind of talk all things Apex right now, because specifically when it comes to your content, I know that there's been some conversations around maybe some in-game options for communication. So talk to me a little bit about this.
There's been a little bit of discourse, yes, about whether or not mics are a necessity in game. And it's an interesting one because pings are obviously in the game. I think Apex has one of the best ping systems that has been seen in a multiplayer. And along with the pings come the voice quips and the in-game legend communication that comes with it. But a lot of people seem to ignore that or just pretend it's not there. And I think that's where the discourse has come from.
I want to jump in here and kind of talk about the ping system, because I think it's something that's been replicated in other titles because of how effective it is in Apex Legends. What are some of your favorite pings that people maybe aren't as aware about as they should be? Because I am very aware of spamming the red ping when I want someone to do something. That's my go-to, but it's probably not the best.
Probably not the best. I know a lot of people get insta muted when they start to spam the red ping. However, I do like I think we're all guilty of using it at some stage, but the looting here ping is one of my favorites. I don't know about you guys, but especially solo queuing ranked games, for example, using the looting here ping is like, hey, this is my spot. I'm going to be taking this loot. Don't land on me and slurp up everything that's underneath me in the bins that I'm opening,
I got to ask you, Jace, tell me how successful that is, because the amount of times that a loot path will be replicated and ranked is probably hard to measure. So tell me, do people tend to respect the looting here, ping?
No, I'm going to say Octane mains especially. I'm calling out the Octane mains.
I love that. So what is your official stance on it then? Like, where do you fall in the spectrum of yes, 100% mic is required, no, maybe not so much, not at all? Tell me about it.
Sure. I mean, I'm never going to say that pings are better than voice comms. I think voice comms definitely have their place, especially in the higher elo lobbies. But when it comes to newer players or people that don't have access to a mic, when we're talking about accessibility and making it available to everyone, people are very quick to forget that pings are in fact in the game. And there are voice quips that come along with that help with team communication and getting that cohesion going, especially if you're solo queuing or new to the game.
Yeah, I think it's one thing. Sorry, Annie, I'll just jump in with one before we close out. But I think it's one thing that is very important to highlight to a lot of people as well, because I think there's a lot of people who have played a huge amount of hours at Apex Legends who don't actually realize the depth of the ping system in the game. It is just a case of the bumpers or a couple of buttons on the keyboard that you think is ping, but the depth in it is so important, and I think that it's really good that you highlight that. And for people who may not have a microphone, for example, it just gives you that option to communicate with your team in the way that you would want to be communicated to.
Yes, of course. You see it a lot with new players. They go, oh, I don't have a mic, or I'm scared to use my mic because I'm going to get yelled at. And, it's very important to highlight that there are, in fact, other options. Granted, they're not the best options, but it's better than nothing. So it's good to point that out.
Certainly, yeah. I want to ask you once and for all, you and Mark kind of highlighted a bit, though. It feels like if you drop in a ranked game, and heaven forbid you red ping something, right? Both of your teammates think that means we're going, regardless of the distance of the ping, by the way. Teammates think that it means we're going there. You also have the option of watching here. What do you think the solution is to try to communicate ping-wise to, is it, there's an enemy here, but we're just keeping an eye on it. What do you think the solution is there ping-wise?
Well, there is a ping that is watching here, which I think is very also underutilized.
Yes,
and it's one that we can, absolutely. So you can use that and say, you can ping an enemy, but then say, hey, I'm watching here or I'm defending here as well. So that's another way to communicate with your team that you're not quite ready to push and you want to hold back and just kind of keep an eye on things for a little bit longer.
Agree. We need more watching here's in Apex in general, without a doubt.
Yes.
The people abide to as well. They don't just ping it and say I'm watching here and then don't watch it. Because I know you guys are out there. Okay.
Calling out a lot of people specifically here. Jace, thank you so much for jumping on and chatting with us for our halftime show. Before we say goodbye, do you want to do a quick shout out for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it always feels awkward plugging your own socials, but yeah, I'm Jace on everything. I think the name is on the screen here. So if you guys need to find me and you have questions, especially if you're a new player, hit me up. Let me know what you want to see.
Jace, thank you so much. It was lovely chatting. Hopefully we'll see you soon. All right, we are learning new things about how Mark and Andy play the game. That's what I got out of that discussion.
I was always wondering why my right bumper wears out before everything else, and now I know.
Yep.
We'll get you a new controller with your, reformed ways of not spam pinging as we prepare to dive into match number 4 on the day. You guys can discuss.
Well, here we go then. Away from the pings, back into the game, Andy, and I'm sure a lot of teams would love to be able to ping where this end zone will be going as we switch maps over to Olympus. We are into the second half of our games for today.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic start of games here for Americas, and let's not forget, there's a lot of teams that are favorites and also veteran teams that have not placed so far where they want to in the table. Currently, a lot of teams that didn't maybe be expected to get into this position here are leading in the game, so it's perfect time, as you say, to shift into Olympus. There's a few things I want to point out as we do have the draft up on screen. The first is the top left of the map once again. There's 3 pieces of this puzzle. It is Buckle Boys and Men of Culture up in the Northwest, which is already a story on its own, as those teams are known to just maybe fight an int a little bit more, but more specifically, it's Rock up ahead of them. By the way, Rock picked that POI before either of those. Before Carrier or Fight Night were picked, they picked Stabilizer. So Rock had no idea what they were signing up for when they picked Stabilizer.
Going like, really? Oh gosh! So we know we're gonna have to fight our way out of here.
Yeah.
But if they come out of that situation, they're gonna have some KP and they're gonna be feeling very confident. They've been fighting pretty well today, Rock. So I don't think they'll be too worried about that. Good news for Shopify Rebellion fans, though. I know it's been few and far between in recent memories, but it's 3 players in the lobby for them. Zony's power issues, I think, are over. I think there's some storms in his area, but the good news is he's back into the game. The IGL is back, and maybe, just maybe, Andy, the adversity is going to make them strong enough to have a big performance here and a comeback in match 4 to 6.
Yeah, Shopify fans certainly going to be hoping for that. They're going to be your Gardens team. But we're starting things off with Team Burger. And guess what? They're at the new Elysium, which we got to say, for a team that plays on Baby Comp, which I have to add, because the bans have followed the order that we expected and the bans that we've seen in scrims, there's going to be a lot of Baby Comp this game. So Team Burger, even though they're a trendsetter, they will not be alone in this game. But the new Elysium is perfect for them. They could take their time looting here. They can scrap loot either Gardens or Clinic, if not both, and make their way to the end game.
I'm kind of hoping for an Elysium pull at some point in this game. It was one of the most incredible games of all time recently in scrims. We'll discuss it another time. Let's keep our attention on this one. Hopefully we do see it and we'll be able to talk about it. But where the zone is going, Andy, we are going down south towards Bonsai and Solar Array.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit different from your Bonsai zone that we saw in EMEA. This is going to be a little bit more Icarus included in the first one. But for now, we'll take a look at things up north. As I said, this was going to be juicy. Probably all of the games between these 3 is going to be Cruel Buckle taking down Aveki of Men of Culture. And I'm not surprised to see these 2 are fighting early.
And just walk in that mobile shield forward as well to see if they can find any more targets. It looks like the last 2 players of Men of Culture will escape for now past Fight Night, but JD Gaming are also rotating to Turbine and might be about to cut them off. So RSC are taking their time, which I think is very smart. Stabilizer is a big POI to loot. They have a console. They have the ability to let everybody else take care of each other. And I think their timing is going to be, let's give an extra 20 or 30 seconds before we leave stabilizer to what we might normally do.
I was going to say, I'm not surprised to see them going back grid just because of what's in front of them. I was looking at the map and I'm like, the only safe route is going to power grid. They're going to just slowly take their time. They could even go all the way to Rift if they want to and just stay away from whatever Buckle Boys and Men of Culture might be up to around Turbine.
Yeah, I think it's smart, isn't it? You've got to be aware of teams around you, and I think RSC recognize the type of team that is around them and the play style that they will be bringing to the game. Shopify Rebellion moving over to Rift for now. Elysium still being looted nice and slowly by Team Burger, as is their way. Elsewhere, you can see teams moving a little bit closer to zone, but one that's not close to zone and still fighting at this point is going to be Buckle Boys, and it's part 2, chapter 2 of the fight, and Aveki doesn't even get to touch the ground.
And of course, they're just shooting Aveki out of the dropship. I mean, you could not write this. It was going to be chaos, but I think it's even more than we were ready for. Big cracks coming out of 30-30, and it will be Vatari going down as well.
Men of Culture, rest in peace. You are going to be the Red Bull First Strike victims this time around, as it will be Buckle Boys picking up the KP and also getting themselves to blue armor already. So a nice start for them, Andy.
Yeah, as soon as that's why I said there's one thing POI draft-wise to focus on this map. It was always going to be that fight, and to be honest, I'm very glad we have 2 more games out of it. But it's going to be, as you say, Buckle Boys who get the first lap. But now we take a look here at Icarus, where there's a lot of carnage, and Legacy will fall.
Yeah, Legacy gone. I mean, the win in the second game, but then in this game, barely got to play the game. They are gone. They are the second team to fall out of the lobby, and it's nice guys who control Icarus at this point who are going to be the benefactors of that push. So interesting to see where this zone does pull. Sometimes on that hillside, Andy, just outside of Bonsai, that ramp can be very playable, but it can also pull into that open field where it is very difficult to predict exactly where that zone is going to go. A lot of open space to navigate, but the kind of increase in baby comp in this game, I think, is going to make it a very interesting and playable endgame for these teams. Excuse me.
Yeah, certainly. Taking a look here at another baby comp variant. This is actually going to be HUSS here playing baby comp with Watson, so they will be able to hold space even more so, right? They're not relying. They're already here back Bonsai, so they're going to be very happy that they can play this space, inch their way up, and they will have a Watson Gen as well as a Fence as an option in terms of space they can play. But elsewhere, things are a little bit hairier under Bonsai Tunnel.
Yeah, Dinos are going to be being aggressive here. Deeds, last player alive. P20's got a buff recently, but Deeds has a Mastiff. And all of a sudden, future streams and Chaos Feelings are going to have to move in to finish this one off. Purple Slushee will be eliminated, and Dinos will not suffer too much. Up to your feet, soldier, as Gibby will drag you back to your feet, and another bubble comes down almost immediately. Power booster, everybody.
Yeah, it's a big win indeed, as Dinos will be able to close that out. Also, I love the bubble forward just to make sure that the fight is isolated, and they can also then loot and reset. The quiet moment in the action gives us a chance to talk about what just happened to Legacy, by the way. They're actually the Icarus team. The nice guys who just wiped them, they came from Rift. So obviously TP'd and sent on. Legacy hadn't finished at Icarus, and they get taken down with a big early move from Nice Guys, which is big from them. They placed 15th last week, so they're looking for a much stronger week number 2.
Well, Zest Fest on the bubble trident. Little pit stop here to pick up the Evo. Get a little bit closer to purple. Team Falcons at the moment, they're kind of moving their way up through the terminal choke. They've got a long way to go towards this zone. As we move towards Grow Towers, I think the plan is to hit the survey beacon and not only get the lay of the land, but also see how close they can get to purple themselves. Now, Crazy Thieves tried to push up on Team Falcons, who were in that spot, and decided that maybe this one isn't quite where we want to be playing for now. The bike shed, though, Andy, we've been here before. Don your lycra, viewers. We are ready to go cycling once more.
Yep, grab your water bottles, throw on the stunner shades, and be ready for some cycling because CRT is going to be holding central bike shed. And to be honest, as I looked at the overhead, like you said, they just flew past Team Falcons, who is actually holding kind of the terminal choke. This was the only option for them. But as we saw earlier in EMEA, it is a good option. As we talk about pit stops in terms of baby comp games, bike sheds and central, that's going to give you options. And unsurprisingly, it puts CRT almost center zone.
Yeah, really good rotate here from Crazy Thieves. The Trident helping them to make that play. Elsewhere, though, the teams who have played right into that southern side are going to be in a little bit of a sticky situation now. The likes of HUSS and DINOS, as the zone slightly pulls away from them. It's a little bit surprising to see them play that deep on zone early with that information that, of course, we have. Maybe they didn't have a console, but rotating away from there is very, very tough. HUSS are going to be able to kind of scoot their way up away from it. Maybe on the outside, kind of wrap under that bridge, the outside of the big wall. But for the likes of Flat, who are right deep in the back of that zone, it's going to be very tough. They're going to have to fight their way through.
I agree. Even prior to this exact console data we have on the screen, when you saw that circle, the outer one right here, I agree. Playing back Bonsai is risky because it's already out, even on that pull. And also, I'm not surprised to see HUSS probably leaving Bike Shed soon, like you alluded to. They're probably going to want to play big space on that ramp and that underpass, and they'll have a new castle to do it.
Well, Shopify Rebellion have found Buckle Boys, and Buckle Boys have already got some KP in this game. Shopify low on confidence, but certainly hoping that the guns will be hot in this fight. Koifel's going to take a little bit of an off angle here. Doesn't want to pop the jets. He wants to play this one nice and sneaky. See if he can find an angle. Instead, it looks like he's going right back into Sommers so that they can find a little bit more information out by using this survey beacon. So Koifel's going to get up to purple off the back of this. Zino's going to come and pick him up in the whip. Say, jump in, buddy. Let's get a little bit closer to zone.
Yeah, and their sheer presence actually pushed Buckle Boys all the way to the choke already, so that's a nice free UAV for Shopify, and they're going to get out of zone, be able to heal for just a second, and chart their course.
The late game's going to be very interesting here. There's going to be a lot of teams falling from the skies. A lot of Valkyrie in this lobby. Like you say, this is about as baby comp a lobby as you can get with the amount of teams running that exact composition. Zest Fest. They're going to be inside a solar array for now. There's a few teams surrounding them. They do not have this next zone information and might be a little bit heartbroken when they do see the zone pull. JDG are inside of that building in the middle of solar array as well. Team Burger, though, the winners of the previous game, they're on a Trident right now. Let's jump into the radio comms and tune into Team Burger FM.
Yeah, we just chill here.
I'm gonna leave car here.
So we're not zone on this ramp, but we can.
It's a shit.
Right on this side.
They can angle us. This is just bad, I think.
Look at me. Play on me. Can you just chill on me?
We got better. Just
It's a back dude. They're not gonna push us.
Yeah. Probably chill.
Just play there.
Yeah, we can play this down here, no? Yeah, just play this down here.
Yeah, I can play.
I'm bringing the car.
There's one team terminal.
Yeah, we gotta be careful with that comp. Wow. How many bats do we have?
Yeah, but he's got
I have seven.
Just hear your.
Just drop.
Just use your overflow.
Headed.
Yeah, I have 3. I'm 3.
Here.
Nice. Alright, do you want to look to just fucking get in off this pop?
Yeah, I think we see zone and then we look to get in deep as we can.
Go reset.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. Do we look to just take this here?
Do we make it there? Infinite
I'm
bat?
taking it.
Nice.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, you should have it here.
Yeah, here.
Can you carry Dog Evan?
Yeah, I can.
I'm dropping you both now.
I'm dropping bats. Dropping 2 bats. 3 bats.
I'm grabbing them.
Good.
Matt, this hut.
Let's charge that way.
Love a little bit of spoken word radio, Andy, and Team Burger FM certainly does not disappoint. What do you take away from those comms?
My takeaway is zones come in 2. If you watch the EMEA show, you know exactly where we are headed, because it is going to be essentially on the bottom of the eastern side of the Bonsai ramp, a very familiar zone. But in terms of actual takeaways there, you heard what they're saying. Let's take the strat, right? Let's play this. They knew that Falcons was at the terminal choke. They said, let's wait for zone. Let's make our play. And here they go on the bubble Trident rotate.
Well, it looks like it will be a move to close enough to getting anywhere they want to. As far as distance away, ooh, I just found JD Gaming though. Floating just appeared out of nowhere. So they're going to take a second here just to reset. They're going to be completely safe though. This will be Team Burger for the foreseeable future, you would imagine. They are on the comp that makes it very difficult to kill. There's barely a Maggie in the lobby as well. So, I mean, it's interesting to see that they're just going to coexist because neither team can really do the initial damage to take advantage.
Ooh, this is Shopify and Nice Guys. Now Koifel winning the damage trade against Hambino, and he will also get the crack as well. That should open the way for Zainu to wrap, and it will be indeed. They'll get the first one. Cody goes down. Hambino goes down. Sang will go down. It's a clean wipe for Shopify in the back of Icarus against Nice Guys.
And up into the top 10 with that as well. So 9th place overall at the moment. One of those games as a duo as well. A lot of work to be done for Shopify, but fights like that will build the confidence. Now they've got to progress though from the low ground up to the high ground. The bubble goes down. I wonder if this is being set up for a Valk ult. Koifel, load us up. Take us to the skies.
You know it. That's when that bubble goes forward. There was only one option.
Oh,
there was
we
an
don't
option.
want to go down. It's a crash landing for Shopify Rebellion, and if that is not symptomatic of how their days seem to be going at the moment, I don't know what is.
Oh my gosh, even with a bubble and a purple Valkyrie,
no.
we talk about the strength of that. However, CRT says no, they shut it down, they shoot it out of the sky.
Shopify trying to reset. The good news for them is that they're getting peppered a little bit. Crazy Thieves themselves, so they're going to have to force a bubble. They're going to have to change their attention, and Shopify might actually be able to reset down on that low ground, but I mean, they can't even do that. It is just heartbreaking. Every time we go on their POV at the moment, Shopify cannot get anything going, and it's DKK who are the benefactors.
Yep, DKK playing slow from Solar, and even if Shopify managed to somehow pull off a miracle reset from the low ground, they had two things against them, that uphill climb or that zip. However, they were going to get out of it, but DKK just strolls in from Solar, and they pick up the KP as well.
Well, the zone actually pulls away from that ramp into the courtyard of Bonsai Plaza, where we're going to be ending our game. So DKK find themselves down on that low ground that we were looking at outside of zone. Crazy Thieves are looking over them at the moment, but both teams are going to have to leave. They do have the Valkyrie. Excuse me, they don't have the Valkyrie this time, DKK. They have Catalyst, and I'm sure they're wishing that they did have Valkyrie at this point.
How about the... okay, anyone who's watched the scrim comps, how many times has DKK been running the Valk? They instead, as you say, knocked on the Cat. This game instead changes this specific scenario significantly for them.
Look at the map overhead. So many teams just landed. Zest, Buckle Boys, and Unreal Nightmare all in the sky at the exact same time, and all slamming a spot in zone at the exact same time. And all of them, for now, look like they're able to survive. The bubbles will give the reset ability, and now it's about coexisting.
Yeah, what a day that Buckle Boys has had. By the way, outside of this all is Falcons. They're in 13th. They're still alive all the way on the western side all alone. We'll keep an eye on them. For now, Buckle Boys has found themselves into the late game yet again.
And so Team Burger. Unreal Nightmare will be eliminated. DKK have to make the uphill struggle towards this zone. And they're trying to make it while all of these Gibby ults are going down in the background, hoping that attention is going to be taken away from them.
And I think also important to note, they want to use as little util as they can up this hill. There will be a lot of needs for all of their utility on this baby comp with Cat. They want to save as much as they can, and like you say, try to get there unscathed.
Well, DINOS are having a peek at the moment. They do have the Watson interception pylon down to eat up some of these Gibby ults, and Sky Nades are going to be coming their way. Bubble goes down, and so does the Gibby ult. Now, Future Streams only has one Gibby ult available due to being on blue armor for now. It doesn't have that perk available. But for the team inside here, you get the feeling it's going to be Sayonara, because they are just trapped in this corner. They are just about safe, but that's a very tight corner. They got to bubble out here and take the fight.
Oh, bubble out to just try to peek the battle if they can. Future's going to try to go right in by taking a whole lot of stun damage on the way in. Still gets the knocks and might even be able to wipe here. They all have to swing through zone into the chaos. They will at least get the first one.
Here comes Floating. Dino's eliminated. They had to fight. Floating came out of nowhere with the Wraith portal. Jumps in. They get the free kills. Floating will have to be brought back up, but there is a portal down for him to jump into, so they should be able to reset here, JGG. But back to DKK on the northern side of this zone. This is them versus ROC, and it is a standoff outside of Bonsai.
DKK, traditionally a very good bubble fighting team, dropped, however, not having the shotgun that he usually brings to this battle. It's good damage coming out of Keon. As he tries to wrap, he'll have to reset for just a second.
Yeah, the Gibby ult will force them back. The bubble now back. Cersei, he's very, very weak, but they can't get that first knock. Finally, it's going to be Noct, who swings with this car in his hands, but another bubble goes down. If you're wondering how difficult it is to kill these Gibraltar teams, if they have a power booster as the amp, you're seeing it in front of yourself right now. You just can't commit. Falcons eliminated, by the way, in the meantime. Not been a great day for them so far.
Oh, this has been a clunky fight here. Dropped actually will fall as the Gibby, so it's just going to be up here to Keon and Noct.
Noct has taken damage as well. There's a little hole in that cat wall, and ROC are going to take the opportunity actually not to finish this fight. They just want to get a place in zone. The zone is closing behind them. I think it's their best option.
I love that. That's big picture. Leave the solo. They don't even want to fight that at all. And they know by then that the other team does not have Valk either. They say, hey, we don't need to bother with this lowly stuff on Bonsai Hillside. Let's get into endgame.
CRT taking some damage here. Phony, one of the last alive for his squad. That'll be CRT eliminated if he goes down, I believe. Buckle Boys, first place overall at the moment. HUSS just been eliminated as well as the kill feed starts to light up here. Flat going to be the next team to go. Gamblers will go next as well, as everyone arriving at this point has arrived to the party a little bit too late. DKK, who got into zone, are now taking a huge amount of damage, but Keon on the Newcastle is looking to do a heroic reset here, but he's not going to be able to. DKK will be next out of the lobby.
Yeah, goes for the drag, but in the end, it's Buckle Boys playing the 2 Sky Taxis out front, which gives them a very, very unique bit of cover to play right now as we are down into our final squads in the game.
And it's the Burger Baby comp doing its job again on that low ground. Slayer drags his teammate back to his feet. Sorcerer, by the way, has found a Kraber for ROC here, but it's another standoff. This time, there's a mobile shield and a Watson fence dividing the two teams. But Sorcerer is just going to walk forward. This Peacekeeper in his hands. Cruel Buckle will find one. From distance onto Madness, that kill does not go the way of ROC.
Yeah, it's holding this bridge here so far, playing this bubble fight very well and forcing anyone else who's on bridge off to the low ground. Bubble Boys tries to jump up, but they get shoved back off as well as they bubble forward and reset.
Revival just been eliminated in the meantime. 6 squads now remaining. 3 bullets to that Kraber still for ROC to put to use. CRT still alive, by the way. Phony and Verholst doing what they can to scrape a few extra placement points and maybe some KP that will follow alongside it. Zestfest, JD Gaming, and Team Burger on that southern side of zone, as you can see here, though.
Yeah, 2 separate parts of this bridge being played and 3 teams essentially on each side of the low ground on each bridge. So you're going to see this western side get pushed in quite a bit here as Team Burger has to bubble forward.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to heal here and then maybe look for a cheeky late Valcol?
Yep.
Yes, indeed. In fact, they're not going to heal. They're just going to take to the skies while everyone else's attention is taken away. ROC still on this height on this bridge.
Yeah, Burger just flying around in the skies right now. ROC just wants to play this height, and so far they're commanding it very well.
They will land around the Blossom Tree at Bonsai. Buckle Boys. One of many Gibby ults to go down. Still one in the back pocket here for Jay to use as well. Cersei and Phony have fallen in the meantime to defensive bombardments. Floating's trying to make a portal out to get JDG into some sort of position to survive, but he misses the double jump. He can't get up to height. And that could cost him here.
That's free for Buckle Boys. That's absolutely free. Kraber is out for Sorcerer as he will hit hard.
That is Collapse City, baby. Team Burger eliminated. Crazy Thieves eliminated as well. And even if you haven't got many bullets left, you can still put the work in if you get the players to line up. ROC waiting to throw this Gibby ult that could go crazy in this endgame.
It's a perfect timing as well. Both bubbles dissipate exactly as the ult comes down.
Oh my, Sorcerer and crew have timed it perfectly. Don't even have to pull the trigger. The Gibby ult sends them into first place. Rock are going to be your champions here.
Absolutely beautifully done by Rock. Not just the high ground that they commanded, and even when the ult was going up, the way that they held that space, it was specifically the timing of the bubble from ROC. And as you say, Mark, to the second they timed the Gibby ult, that by the time that's hitting, both Gibby bubbles have dissipated for the side of Buckle Boys and JDG. It was clean pickings there. It's a Kraber PK ending for Sorcerer. As you said, the collab, it all came together for them.
I mean, beautifully played, right? It's the quintessential Gibby meta com is hold your bubble till last. If you are last to bubble, you will have the most success, and that's a great example of it there. By the way, that Kraber shot, I want to see how much total damage that one bullet did, because I felt like 3 or 4 teams almost were lined up behind each other, and I want to see how many players were actually affected by it. So ROC, the great decision to Valcol outweigh from that fight from DKK turns into a match-winning decision. They will be first. 11 KP for them, 23 points total.
Yeah, that was big brainer. Pro Gamer, we're high above what's happening out here. We can go play into the late game, and like you say, they put together such a perfect execution. By the way, got to talk about Team Burger's Valcol. I think by the time they landed back into their bubble, they were thinking, man, we were thinking a whole lot else would have happened by the time we got back down to the ground.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. By the way, a shout out to Buckle Boys as well. 20 points in that game. They are going to be leading the lobby. They are looking fantastic in this week's action. And with 2 more games to go, Lauren, I mean, the Buckle Boys are looking strong.
I think that as all of our splits do early on, we get a really good idea of other squads outside of the top storylines that we were prepared to talk about heading into the split. These first few weeks are always when we're seeing the new trios that have been formed during the offseason really kind of find some synergy. And some squads, even that come out of CC, they show up and they absolutely put on a show as we get to check in with our series results, what that means for the last couple matches of the day. ROC jumping up into that first position, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. And I think, like Mark said, that call presumably coming straight from Sauce to just Valcold. Can't wait to go to the comms to hear exactly how they played that. But also a big boost for Cersei playing alongside, of course, the new squad. It just, I think, a lot of confidence for them. They have looked very strong. But I think the big highlight, I think, Team Burger is kind of in third. They placed fourth last week or so. They were kind of ranked third power rankings amongst these groups. Buckle Boys, let's not forget, who anyone didn't catch last week, they placed 18th. So to be in second now is a huge deal.
That's a good shout, because often we are looking and always talking about that consistency, but also the recovery off of a rough day to the next is something that we need to pay attention to, because being able to bounce back both mentally and literally is important. And another team that was able to do that, or that had the opposite of that happen really, was Full 11. And I'm actually really excited to talk to this team. We were very hyped on them for their first match day. They did very well. First place out the gate. We have Soviet standing by to chat all things ALGS. Soviet, welcome. IGL of Full 11. Thank you so much for joining us.
How's it going?
It's going good. It's going pretty good. And I'm excited to chat with you. We're going to get the first question out of the way right away, because you saw it in the graphic there. From 1st to 20th, you have to talk to me about what happened, because you guys on that first match day honestly looked amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised as well that we won. I mean, I guess it's just like being in flow state. It's the best thing I can compare it to. Like, I think that Saturday was the first day that I wasn't second guessing my decisions. I was acting on kills opportunities that we had, and we capitalized again and again and again. The whole way I play the game is I try to be in where I think the zone is going to end. And most of the time I was missing out on KP opportunities, but that Saturday is the first day I think like I said, didn't hesitate. We executed again and again. And yeah, pretty much textbook way to win a day. And then on the inverse, the next day, the way how to get 20th, I guess. Quite literally. So wasn't planning out things. We weren't talking. So yeah.
I was going to be the bad guy. I was going to step in here and I'll be like, okay, that's great. So what happened on the second day? Because it was a big turnaround. And I want to just highlight very quickly, your journey, because you came through qualification. You came through, to make it into Pro League. It was not an easy road for you. You go into the first day and you win it. It must feel like you're on top of the world. And then you have this reality check right in the second day. Like, how have you dealt with that as a team? Because it is, you probably thought after day one, this is easy. And then day two hits, you're like, this isn't quite as easy as we thought.
I mean, immediately after the games are over, I'm kind of just super disappointed in myself. I IGL, so it's like you feel the brunt of that weight more than anyone else. But I mean, we got 20th. It's in the past. All you can do is keep pushing, honestly. One of my teammates was like going through, I guess, the stages of grief. He was like, I can't believe we got 20th. Like, we're awful. And then it's like, okay, let's lock it in and prepare for the next week, pretty much. So.
So I want to ask, you guys played I took a look at kind of the comps between the days, and there wasn't necessarily a giant difference in the way that you guys played the game or the comps you played, but you did play, I believe, on the 12 games, maybe 11 different comps. It was quite a wide variety. Do you have any thoughts, just kind of, I know there's a lot of options right now in the current meta. There's a lot of open teams that are playing pretty heavy Maggie. I think you guys are bringing in a bit, but you guys are bringing also in a lot of other legends. How are you guys approaching kind of overall how you play out through these lobbies in the current meta?
I think it really just goes down to what's available based on the POI that we're landing at. So I think in the last game for the day that we won, I think we were on Val, Cat, Maggie, I want to say. Just the way that I play and the way I'm not really looking to take 3v3s for the most part. For the most part, we're like kind of spot hopping, looking for picks here, put picks there. So for the most part, we're things that can help us stabilize. And then if we got to fight, enable us to take the fight. So that's why we will incorporate Maggie here and there.
Sure.
I mean, Mark mentioned it, but it's something that we were talking about at the beginning of the show as well. What is the difference for you, or how does it feel playing, obviously, through the qualifiers to get to Pro League, and then versus what we're seeing now in the split in Pro League? How difficult is it to make that transition? And for some of the other teams that are still playing, I think, really aggressive that maybe some of the Pro League teams aren't used to, what do you guys do with those types of situations?
I will say it's a completely different game playing from PSQ to playing in Pro League. I say it all the time, like the main thing that I've learned from playing in PSQ is if you're playing a spot, just assume you'll probably get inted playing the spot. So, but that's not really a thing in Pro League. People in Pro League understand the value of positioning over just raw kills and whatnot. So I think that's probably the biggest difference is you don't have to fight every single fight. Like just because you see a team, you don't have to fight them. Yeah. That's like the main thing. Like the one of the games we played on Saturday, I think it was the pylon ending. The whole time I was freaking out because I was like, we're going to get inted from over here, we're going to get inted, and it just didn't happen because it's like the fights that are a thing in PSQ or CC lobbies are not a thing for the most part. Like obviously like high like spots that win games, you'll probably see a fight there, but you're not guaranteed to have that fight, I guess, is the main thing I've kind of learned.
Well, Soviet, we appreciate you taking the time to come chat with us between these matches. Obviously, bounce back because you guys crushed it in that first debut out of the gate with the first place finish. So you know that there is still so much potential and ability left in that squad. I'm excited to watch you guys throughout the rest of the split. Before we say goodbye, do you have any quick shout outs you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to probably Caprine. He's been a big help with helping me learn how to play the game better. Big shout out to EEC. They pretty much are the backbone of tier 2. They host scrims and whatnot. I don't think I'd be where I am right now if they didn't have an environment to help you kind of grow as a player and that like as a team. So yeah.
Awesome.
That's pretty much it, I guess.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Soviet. Hopefully we'll be speaking again soon.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
I'm a Soviet fan.
Big.
I'm just saying it right now. Big Soviet guy. I'm a big Soviet guy.
And if you guys want to have a similar story, a similar opportunity, don't forget you can register for our Challenger Circuit right now. The registration will close on April 22nd for CC number 2, but there's still more throughout the rest of the first half of this year. Who knows? You could be the next team that qualifies into play here in Pro League with all of our other teams. All you have to do is head on over to battlefy.com/ALGS to get yourself signed up. But it is time for us to keep things going. We're jumping into match number 5. Mark, it's time for you to take a break. We're going to say goodbye for now as Andy and I get ready to go back into Olympus.
I'll tell you what, it's been a blast today so far at both regions. Just unbelievable games. We've seen 2 different zones play completely differently in both maps. We've had, I think, everything we could ask for. And guess what, Lauren? We get to go back to the Buckle Boys Men of Culture and ROC avoiding it in the northwest of the map at least 2 more games.
I'm not mad about it. This is one of the other things. I keep talking about how we're early on in the split, but this is one of the other things that I love about being in the beginning of a split is that you do get just a dash of added chaos because it's not 100% settled yet with how people are going to be playing things, and I love that.
Me too, and I'm not surprised that ROC wanted no part of it. Let's not forget 2 pretty big things. ROC dodges that fight like the plague, and they just get out of there. They go to grid and then rift, which I think is, first of all, a great play, and second of all, they win the game. Also, Buckle Boys has to win the straight 3v3 against Men of Culture to get into the late game as well. So much of what happened in that northwest corner of the map, Fight Night, Stabilizer, and Carrier, ended up being a big part of the late game. We'll have to see if there's just as much chaos in this game as well. Expecting to see quite a lot, not Baby Comp, of course, after that Gibby ban, but expecting to see quite a lot of Valk Newcastle in this game still.
Definitely wouldn't be surprised if every single team ends up, or almost every single team ends up with them on their squads as we jump on board with Rock Esports here as they start to kick things off. And I am taking a look at these legends right now, and it looks like we are tied with Newcastle and Valk, 16 picks apiece.
Okay, yeah, and also, like you said, that's going to be the core of the lobby. We have a few ramps, as you're seeing on your screen now. We have a few Caustics still in the lobby as well, and a few Wattson. So you do get a lot of controller options when the bans go this way, when they start to focus away from the traditional bans that they have been. You do get a lot of different controller options, and now we're going to see how everything opens up. It's not over yet. This time, it's going to be Vaudry on Men of Culture taking down Jay. Like we said, this fight will continue.
You know, once the feud begins, it's hard to stop it, okay? And if this is an opportunity for them to pick up some early KP as well, you know they're going to be chasing this down to do exactly that. But are we surprised? We talked about them at the top of the show as a team that was aggressive, and that's what we're getting.
Honestly, yeah, we knew this was coming. By the way, ROC is still at Stabilizer, and they're hearing all these shots, and they're like, God, the kids are fighting again.
Quick little disengage wasn't necessarily ready for there to be damage coming right around the corner, but the turnaround and instant hunt down to clean up the kill there, just to really solidify that, to be honestly extra annoying as well.
Oh, and looks like Kuzme and Cruel Buckle, the remaining members of Buckle Boys, will have to go to back Oasis here and look for a reset. MOC will have to see. They're scouting the push. We'll have to see if they actually chase it. Buckle Boys is just going to try to get away from this and maybe play into the late game after a reset. But here's DKK moving on to Grow Towers.
Honestly, DKK in a really good spot for where this zone is going to be. We haven't even really talked about that yet. Grow Towers kind of right in the middle of it, also with that ring console at everybody's disposal, so the information will be available as well, while Drop starts to look to see any of these other teams that have moved in early if he can maybe start leveling up that Evo.
I know it's a meme, but zones come in pairs. And we now have our second grow zone of the game. It's very, very similar to what we saw in EMEA once again. So if you caught that, expect a lot of the kind of priority space. Take a look once again. This is largely overgrow. It's worth mentioning how much of Gardens is in here. This is not necessarily going to pull dead center of what we're looking at or to the previous grow zones. A lot of Gardens buildings will be played here by the outside teams, but we are once again going to see teams start to posture up as much as they can all around grow in the surrounding areas.
Love that we're getting a little bit of a peek there for what Buckle Boys decided to do. Men of Culture did look like they went on a little bit of a chase, but Buckle Boys have already dipsetted. They are going right past Estates as we speak, so they'll live to see another day temporarily, as Purple Slushee is in the vicinity as well.
Maybe? No, evac.
Yeah.
Or fake evac, then port. We'll have to see. We'll keep an eye on Buckle Boys as they try to make their way back into the game. Falcons, though, looks like they get word as they start to maybe turn their head and try to isolate that Buckle Boy solo. So a few teams still making their way in for the West, but we'll focus in on exactly what's going on with everyone settling in, as we said, to Grow and Garden. That's going to be Burger up north as well, making their slow rotate.
Everybody just out there right now looking for that information. Lots of ring consoles at everybody's disposal. So they're going to be checking to see where the best position is for them when it comes to this next ring. Meanwhile, you mentioned Falcons. We're getting a chance to check in with them as they're going for a bit of a scenic drive to get themselves coming in on the western side of this circle.
Yeah, uncharacteristic games. Falcons has had really good scrim blocks recently, which is no surprise. They're always going to have a lot of great games like that. But overall, to be sat in 13th here with just 2 games left, you know this team, they're going to want to make the most of these last 2 games just to make sure that they put together a day they can be proud of. Let's not forget, when you've only got Pro League, by the way, here are the remaining members of Buckle Boys. This doesn't look too good as Purple Slushee. We'll get back to that Falcons point, but Purple Slushee's looking to collapse on that.
I actually think that Buckle Boys was able to get the res, and that was the result of the res. So we still have 2 up. They just didn't exactly get to the full 3 in the way that they wanted. Purple Slushee was ready to pounce, like you were saying, to kind of clear that out. But once again, they do leave preemptively and still live to see another day as Purple Slushee continue on their rotation and hope to run into some more solos as they do exactly that.
But guess what? It's Falcons Metaculture holding terminal chokes, which is exactly the battle. Somehow these two keep finding one another, and certainly a little bit of scrim beef, as we said, but it's also turned now into a lot of Pro League 3v3s. Here's the fight.
You've got Falcons doing a good job having set themselves up with some of these off angles here, but Men of Culture aren't pushing anything too aggressively yet, as they did take just a bit. Couple knocks coming through in the kill feed as well. Falcons and Men of Culture are also the only 2 teams in this area, so if they want to play this a bit slower, they do have the option.
Yeah, we'll say Seer ult as well after the Seer Q, which means they're going to go ahead and push too many. Should probably be taken down here. Hal can't get the finish just yet and has to hit the cell, so we'll look for the help here. They're not able to get everything that they wanted. Aveki, however, will go down. They will get the thirst.
Insane that they were able to kind of just barely squeak by, but now the Falcons can smell the blood in the water, and they are going to push this and see if they can clean this up, clear out Men of Culture, and own this space.
Oh, it's an easy swing there as they're going to go ahead and take down too many as well. And that will be the second falling. They will get the full kill, and they will now start to make their way out and look for that solo as well.
To be fair, Vaudry has put a decent amount of distance between himself and the rest of Falcons, so this could be an opportunity to just craft the banners right in front of a crafter as well. So this could be a reset for Men of Culture, also near the respawn beacon. Things are working out.
Yeah, and has a Moby as well. Probably wants to avoid that solo respawn beacon. We'll see if he's going to be able to put this to use and how he wants to do it. Taking a look at the space that he has on the map, there's enough space to just Trident away and try to maybe just hit a Moby instead of maybe a dead center solar res. But as we said, Falcons has won the battle for now, but they're not out just yet, Men of Culture.
I mean, you see those pings coming through for the recommendations on how and where they'd like those reses to occur. Some scouting happening here. We're just tracking Vatari to see if Men of Culture are able to be brought back alive. Heading back towards the direction of Falcons. This is a little bit risky here.
That's Falcons actually firing in the back of the Trident, and those comms will be coming in. Men of Culture, or I should just say, just Vatari right now with 2 beacons in hand is getting pushed way back, and it's worth noting he's getting pushed into other teams at Ivory Pass, what Mark referred to earlier as the jungle gym, and also this choke. Phase Central choke is not safe, as you see. That's being held as well, so Vatari's just trying to find a safe space. He might even find it on the other side of zone, but guess what? There's someone in Hammond as well.
I mean, it's not like he's being subtle about the rotation, so what do we really expect?
Okay, actually, if he gets to this side around the game 7 spot, might even just hit the actual, he's going to save the Moby. I don't hate this spot. He's going to smoke. He's going to go ahead and oh boy!
It's the Burger Brigade coming in and not only shutting down the res opportunity. Wait, did he get that? Did he get through? Did he get to go through?
He
oh my God! Just barely gets it to
but it's
go
not good.
through.
It's not good.
It's not.
It's not
no
good.
Way.
Right away. No way. Tries to get away with it. Men of Culture finally go down as Team Burger will wipe it and get the extra KP as well, as you actually have the respawn coming in. It's an action movie here with Tridents exploding, and that will be the end of the Men of Culture story in Game 5. I'm out of breath.
I can't handle this. I was not emotionally prepared for this weekend, apparently.
God, what a road for them there. That will be quite a journey. But now let's check in with Flat a little bit closer to the action, by the way. You may have forgotten that this is a Grow Towers end zone. We certainly might have, as we now take a look. They're playing the low ground here, just below kind of the Grow tunnels, which was a big part of Champs as well. One of my favorite quotes here, actually, if you go back to Oblivion comms from Champs, pretty sure it was fun. He said, guys, I'm going to be real. I've never been here before. So that's how New Olympus was at that time. Luckily, the teams have had a few more games since then. Here's Buckle Boys trying to play alongside the wall here in between Ivory Pass and Summers.
While we're taking a look at Buckle Boys, I also made the mistake of looking at the map and thank you, perfect timing for pulling this up, because that's what stopped me in my tracks, is the aggressive shift that everyone in Grow Towers is now going to have to deal with. DKK and DINOS being the only ones in there.
I mean, right now, I know that, by the way, I know that Mark is laughing and he's asking if we've seen this zone before. And there's something up with the double zones. I know it's always been a meme, but right now, these are coming exclusively in pairs. This zone is so similar to the Emil one, and DKK has been holding this Grow Tower exclusively. No one's even played the low ground on them. Interestingly, a lot of teams still up on Gardens, as well as the Gardens Height. Zest currently split holding, it's worth noting, split holding all of the compounds on the bottom Grow beneath the Garden ceiling. Gamblers is above them, kind of playing right along the Trident platform.
This is,
have you seen this zone before, Lauren?
No, never. Honestly, brand spanking new, which is why no one else is there, you know?
Look at DINOS as well. They have bike sheds with only HBM behind them, so it's not guaranteed, but they will potentially have a walk-in that could work well for them. We'll see exactly which comp they're playing, but it's only essentially 2 teams to the west. And now here's Team Burger just having a quick chat before their next Valcult.
Deciding the pings coming through. We just talked about the ping system as well. Pings coming through for where they want to land after taking this ult. This will give them a lot of information too to work with as they start to make their move. And this will be interesting to see where they decide, because there's multiple teams in the sky right now at the same time, all moving in to do the exact same thing. And it looks like everyone is starting to land on top of space that has already been owned.
A lot of damage here coming in. It's only MT left, who's just hugging the gen and the knockdowns for dear life. Gonna try to hit a quick res if he can, but the damage is coming in. And it's not gonna be easy. They're gonna have to desperately try to reset and hold off Hambino from the top angle.
I was really rooting for that res to go through. The Jenny was adding a little bit of added protection. That's now been removed from the equation. It's all down to just the knockdown shields, and it's not enough for MT. Team Burger is eliminated.
Yeah, we get to see there kind of the duality of the baby comp. They tried to play a middle of Grow Tower zone. They Valkyried very late, and they get punished from the angles and the ramps. By the way, DINOS is now cleared their back from HBM. We have to mention, DINOS is exclusively holding bike sheds right here on your screen, as well as this wall. They may have a very straightforward walk-in right now. They're in a battle against HUSS, and the Sky Nades hit. Kimchi will go down. Dupe will go down. Only one player alive for HUSS.
Absolutely insane.
Breach kills him with a breach charge, by the way. That kill comes in. The breach charge does a maximum of 38 damage against a player model. It is not built for that. So for the breach to absolutely get the final kill is fitting. That means DINOS has even more space that they command on the western side.
And they did it with ease as well. We also saw people starting to get removed in the kill feed as we see how Shopify are faring up here. They are near HBM, Zest Fest. They've got JD Gaming in that area, as well as Purple Slushies eliminated in the kill feed.
Yeah, the biggest thing here, CRT, by the way, is holding South Garden. So just ahead of them on the Garden's choke, right along the ramp. That is Shopify's biggest threat that they'll have to prio. There is also a JDG partial, I believe it's a solo, still in Garden. So even though up here is generally a lot safer and a lot more straightforward of a walk-in, they will have several threats up top. They look like they're just going to Valkyrie and not wrap the Grow side. They're going to Valkyrie, and now they look for their own space.
We'll see if this goes better for them than it did for the last wave of Valkults that decided to come in. They land in a very similar fashion on a very similar level and are instantly taking damage as well.
Oh gosh, they did not get the memo, but luckily they take a lot less damage. As you say, they do land on perp, and they do get also a wall down and a little bit of attack cycling coming in. They will be able to try to hold, but that Newcastle Q gonna have to keep them safe for now. And while that wall is an okay angle, it's gonna be pretty exposed in these next few minutes.
That's a tough spot for them to be playing, as we're seeing how crazy Thieves are literally dropping in on the squads below them. Zestfest are eliminated while all of this goes down. Phony gets knocked. It's just down to a duo.
Yeah, Sunny and Verhulst trying to play this. Actually, Verhulst was playing the Oob. He's going to go for the drag on Phony, but cannot get the drag off of the height, which means as a solo, he's going to have to try to play this low ground. Not going to happen. Way too many LOSs onto bottom of Grow Towers. They will go down as well.
That low ground is going to be so scary and dangerous for everybody down there right now. As I say, that flat is eliminated. We're down to 11 squads. DINOS have made the move in, trying to see as a solo if they can clear out Shopify. They are able to do some damage, and it makes Shopify down to a solo.
Wow, DINOS, beautiful from DJ. That R9 spray into almost the Hemlock finish on the Valk. Can't get the kill just yet, but JDG will go down in the end. That was at the north. Clean knock coming in. My God, from Chaos on Koi with the 30-30. That will eliminate Shopify from the game. And like I said, it's still DINOS, by the way. They are the only team near this end zone. They are not just commanding space. They are the only team near the 50% southern side of this. This is now going to be a mess here. You just saw ROC. They're the only team in compound. HBM is close by, but they're going to need to make a huge move south, and they still have both Grow Towers and the teams within them to contend with.
DINOS have forced everybody out of their space, and it's really been an impressive way to defend for now. But as these Valk ults and repositions start coming through, ROC tries to move in. Legacy has found a little bit of space to play with, and we see Nice Guys also in the skies.
Yeah, like you said, Valk ults everywhere. Everyone trying to play as much space as they can. It's actually going to be Legacy owning the kind of mechanical generator compounds, and ROC will also land and wall, but the damage is coming in from both Thermites and Frags. It looks dire. Vax and Sauce trying to fight here. Vax is in a tough spot. He's going to have to try to drag and stay alive.
Oh, it burns. It burns. And I don't know how long he is for this world. As we see people started to peek and kind of use some of this height. DINOS does lose one of their players. Trying to stick that res right now. They should be able to reset as they do still own the only massive bit of cover that's really at their disposal. But Unreal Nightmare moves in while Nice Guys is eliminated.
Yeah, they try to push that. They try to hold. We'll see if they can win this. Forced into the queue is DJ. Tries to get up and try to win this battle against the Nox, and he does it. They hold their ground against Unreal Nightmare, who was trying, as you said, to take advantage of that knock. It's not enough. DINOS will not be stopped. They still hold the South.
That Q to juke around the Jenny just saved their entire match. DINOS will have time to reset the loot to do exactly that. And once again, they still own that space.
Imperial Howl, dead center zone as a solo, if I am not mistaken.
Oh, no.
He is dead center zone as a solo Wraith. We'll see just how late he can last. He is surrounded here by 5 other teams.
Just chilling between the rocks and the bushes, trying to see what he could do. Legacy, they get eliminated from that one spot over on the eastern edge that they tried to take, and it is DINOS yet again that are just moving forward, clearing teams, backing off in such a precise fashion. We see if Hal tries to move over into the space that Legacy was just in to see if maybe he can give himself a little bit more cover, but DINOS are just so aggressively unstoppable right now.
Yeah, like you said, Hal is going to play along that generator, and he's able to occupy that space. But my God, DINOS just playing so well with those Wraith Qs. Hal will be forced to move here. Here comes the crunch.
We've got ROC moving in, slamming down the wall and hoping it gives them enough cover as Revival start to fly in and see if they can maybe last above everybody for just the right amount of time.
Yeah, ROC all of a sudden looking very good. The synergy between Newcastle and Ramp being on clear display. DINOS is going to have to climb against a very, very fortified ROC.
Sheila is an option as well, but as I say that, they get knocked, they get eliminated. Hal's out, ROC is out, Revival is also out, and DINOS is still alive.
Just DINOS and HBM here. A clear knock comes in here. This will be the advantage they should send on this. Syracuse will come out and give them all the info they need in the 3v2 as they look to wrap. The first knock will come in. They'll look for the second as well, and it's a clean win from DINOS. Beautifully done, commanding space, and they win the last 3v3 as well. DINOS will take the game.
What DINOS did we just get? Because that DINOS needs to show up every single match.
I tell you what, I love what we just saw from them. Keep in mind, this is a team that placed 14th in week number 1. This is DJ Future and Chaos, and even though we saw some decent performances from week number 1, it did not look like what we just saw. Keep in mind, they're holding low ground. They were climbing exactly when they needed to from the bike sheds, and specifically commanding that space, holding it against the Unreal Nightmare 3v3, the Qs that were coming in to finish the fight, like you pointed out, Lauren, against Legacy. They held that space that is not easy to hold with the current bans that are where we are in game number 5. They do it so well. 18 KP as well for a 30-point game from DINOS.
Our second 30-point game of the day. We had one on behalf of Alliance in EMEA as well. And I mean, an 18-kill win is something that makes people pay attention. That is a massive performance. That aggression on behalf of the entire squad paid off so well for them. I mean, impressive.
Yeah, I mean, just amazing games that we just saw. So impressed once again with the way that DJ was just kind of queuing out, finishing kills that he needed to, playing it like like textbook Wraith was what we saw from that. Let's take a look at the series results so far. And with that game, DINOS will skyrocket 3 spots. You could see everyone below them just ticking down 1 because it was that big of a game from DINOS. And going into game number 6, ROC and DINOS will only be separated by 1.
Dang, what a fight between all of our squads. We're gonna have to see how that ends here in just a few short moments. But chat, a reminder to start submitting your clips for a chance to be featured on the ALGS broadcast. Okay, we love seeing all of your amazing gameplay, and if you submit it, you might be the next one to show up here on a live show. All you have to do is head on over to our Apex social media accounts and submit it, and then wait and see if you show up on the broadcast. And if you're wondering what those community plays are, you're going to be seeing that here in just a few short moments on our break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with match number 6.
What's up, everyone? I'm Jumba. This is your community top 5s, and let's get straight into it. With number 5, we got Sang from the Pro League team. Nice, guys. So you know this one's going to be good. He gets the first knock, and then he's a little pressed by the Vantage player.
Oh, Vantage player.
But he's able to get away for the reset to heal, and some great strafes to take out this conduit. He's made it a 1v1 now, just waiting for that Vantage to get over here. And then, offensive jump pad, sensor flying, and doesn't miss a single shot in the air. Hilarious way to end it, but into number 4, we got Sang again. He's in hazmat tunnel, both his teammates are down, so he's left to a 1v3 again. And he does it again with the jump pad. How is anyone supposed to be ready for that? He gets the 2 quick knocks. Left to a 1v1, so he goes for the style points. Wall bounce, 360 fade away with the alternator. Sang's Octane seems to play a little bit different than mine. But number 3, we got Harrison, and I see a player flying. I see a charge rifle. This is a clip that would make Monsoon proud. Insane shots, Harrison. I'd probably retire if I ever did that. Into the second spot, we have Tanner Dale. He's last alive, top 2 squads. He's got the infinite ammo Kraber, though. And boom, he gets the Gibby. You're not going anywhere. Bloodhound thinks this win was secured, takes the 1v1, and nope. I agree with the teammates' reaction. And then this Octane takes the jump pad. How do you disrespect my guy Tanner after botting both your teammates the Kraber? Easy shot for him. That Gibby got res though, but Tanner hits the 4th shot in a row. Another heady. Really tough to decide between that and number 1. Now number 1 though, we got Fabrizio. And a lot happens, so let me try to break this down for you. He starts off in a 3v3, knocks this Valk, and then bodies the Pathfinder with an R9, getting the assist for his teammate. Now listen closely. Their 3rd teammate was a Loba that runs away. Because this Vantage that jumps up is from a new squad. He makes quick work of her. Imperial Hal would like these RE shots. And now his teammate dies his own. So Fabrizio's all alone. This Octane and Maggie are not on the same team as that Vantage. This is a 3rd team jumping into this fight in zone. He gets one and then gets the 2nd with a melee. Let's replay that just looking at his health bar. He was 1 HP before the first knock, but the skirmisher passive saves him. And then he's 1 HP again, and it saves him a 2nd time. If the clip ended there, it would have been amazing, but it's still going on as that Vantage squad is back with her squad this time, and I'll let Fabrizio's gameplay do the rest of the talking. Insane clip. Our dude 1v5'd 2 squads after finishing a 3v3. Congrats on number 1 this week, Fabrizio. And that's your community top 5. You can find me on all socials at JumbaGW, and make sure to go to the community tab on the ALGS website and submit your clips so you can be featured in the next one.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Hey, what up, you beautiful bunch? It's been a good day, a fun day so far, and we've still got one more game of action to bring your way here. Welcome to the ALGS Pro League. Welcome, Bravo, back. I missed you. I missed Lauren as well, but it's good to be back, and we've got one more game to decide who's going to be taking it all at the end of play today.
Yeah, glad we got one more game, and to be honest, I got to say, Americas has flown by as well with the speed of these games, and I'll tell you what, I would say results-wise, when we talk about top teams in the table, it's been even more surprising with the teams that have been stepping up, especially when compared to their performances last week. It's DINOS coming in from the 14th seed to take the game win in match number 5.
18 kills, by the way, alongside that win. It is a monster game from what is now a traditional Grow Towers zone from what we've seen so far in some of the games that we've had over the last few weeks. Now we move on to our final match, though. The last time we're going to see Olympus. One thing we're not going to see, though, is Newcastle. It's going to be the final ban of the day. So no Gibby, no Newcastle. Watson's still available.
Yep.
A little bit of Rampart still available, but none of the big boys.
Yeah, Wraith still available as well, so looking forward to seeing maybe a traditional Game 6, NA comp set in terms of the amount of legends that we see. There might even be, with the way that the bell curve of legend ban works, there might actually be quite a lot of consistency in terms of the comps that we see ran in this game. And Mark, due to the way that the POI draft works, it might be the last time we get to see the Buckle Boys Men of Culture ROC Northwest battle taking place, but I'm going to enjoy one last one of them.
Yeah, I'm really going to enjoy this. Savor the moment. I think it's the best way to put it. I'm also going to be picking Grow Towers as my first pick if I'm on Olympus next time that the draft comes around, from some of the zones that we've seen consistently going that way. But elsewhere, we haven't seen many zones up towards Rift. We've seen quite a few of those in scrims as well. So Nice Guy's probably feeling a little bit shortchanged. But elsewhere, I think at the top of the leaderboards, it's still a situation where we don't quite know who's going to take this match day, and he's still very much for the taking of someone to have a big game here and change what their day looks like.
Yeah, after that game coming in from DINOS, it really is anyone's game here. With like we said, ROC still leading by 1 point, but a lot of teams capable of getting a pop-off game here and not just entering the top 3, but maybe even outperforming as well. Overall, like we said, expected to see quite a lot of Watson Seer Wraith. If you've been watching kind of the last few weeks, with the fact that you now have pretty regular Gibby and Newcastle bans around games 3 through 5, you can kind of expect that to really be the default comp in game number 6.
Well, this is the leaderboards. This is what it looks like. Not a lot of points between our teams. The top 3 slightly separated from the rest of the pack, but barely a point between the rest of the pack. Purple Slushee having a little bit of a slow day. Men of Culture being brought back down to earth. It feels like a little bit after a good day last time we saw them out as well. Team Falcons, by their own standards, Andy, and by the standings, you have to say, mid.
Yeah, a slower day, once again, than they would have expected, without a doubt. Let's not forget, they did place 4th last time. So I think, and even 4th, by their standards, like you were alluding to, it's important to note, even 4th is lower than they'd expect. So to now be in 10th, I think this team wants to put together a really good game number 6. This is a veteran squad. They can shake off whatever happens in a given Pro League week, but they'll want to end this with a strong performance.
Why am I looking at the top right-hand side of my screen saying Cruel Buckle has fallen off the map?
Let's go.
You do wonder.
I'm going to need to call an EMT to arrive and check on Cruel Buckle and what happened in that situation. Men of Culture, though, ROC have had it quiet so far. Not anymore, Andy. The Sentinel is amped. The headshot will kill. And that Seer hat looks bigger than ever.
And like I said, these two teams, and Cruel Buckle, by the way, he's coming back in.
Oh my God! Voddery! 2 shots, 2 kills. The Sentinel off drop is a problem. If he hit that, by the way, my entire setup would have turned upside down.
This is why we insisted that we watch this corner of the map early on, because Men of Culture and Buckle Boys are playing a different game than the rest of the lobby. As I said, they picked these two really late in the draft. They knew they would be next to each other. As we now take a look at Hambimo and Cody trying to stay alive after they lose Sang.
Yeah, that's quite the start. I mean, when you've got white armor, it's a problem, that Sentinel, let me tell you. Nice Guys taking some damage from the team up at Fight Night as well. That's going to be... I'm trying to look at who that is, actually. I can't see, there's a lot of teams around here, but it's Buckle Boys.
Yeah.
Buckle Boys looking over at them. Hambino has managed to do enough damage to get Sang back to his feet as well. So for now, a moment of calm. Just a few seconds. ROC have respawned Sand Sorcerer.
And Sorcerer, gosh, man.
And being like, okay... That's how the game's starting, is it?
No, like, this is the first game that ROC didn't just go back power grid immediately, and the second they peak the angles, they absolutely get beamed and have to reset. So I wasn't joking when I said it was going to be carnage up here, that if you kind of squinted and you didn't have this nice, pretty Pro League banner up top, you would be wondering, what am I watching?
Well, one thing we might be watching is quite the end game here, because the zone is pulling towards Fight Night.
Towards all of this. Oh, God.
Now, we've seen some zones today.
Yes, we have.
I'm going to leave it to everybody else to decide what they think about it, okay? We've seen some zones today. We could be seeing an end zone here where we have teams in the ring at Fight Night.
We really could be, and we've actually been seeing it. We've seen them pull, unlike Stadium, Voddery actually has someone with him at back stabilizer, so thought he was safe, but now they're going to be in a mess here, Men of Culture.
Yeah, Voddery down to 1 HP, trying to pop the batteries. Falcons actually who have wrapped through here. HUSS are close as well. And Volley is going to be on his own. It's Hal who's down, I believe, momentarily for Falcons. They're trying to stick the res right now, but here comes HUSS, and Falcons got to be careful here. The breach charge goes in. Hal is out of there. He's queuing away.
Yeah, they really do need to be careful, and this has Champs vibes. You'll remember that Falcons had a very successful third-party stabilizer wipe back at Champs, but this time it's gotten a little bit dicier.
Scan's going to come in. Guild's going to get the finish, onto Too Many Cheaters. That's going to be him down and finished off, so the KP will be secured. And I reckon that Guild right now is probably thinking out one of his best one-liners as Falcons will manage to reset here and will be able to calm things down for just a second.
And I'll tell you what, it's a very different journey than the previous one they had. Typically on a stabilizer third party, you're passing through, you are a tourist, you are getting the kills, maybe you're grabbing a little bit of scrap loot and you're making your way on. But instead, they have a gen down just because of how northern this zone is pulling. They can actually hold the edge here for a while. Respect kind of the distance between HUSS, but these two are now positioning for what will be late game.
By the way, Men of Culture get a full reset. They have got the respawn over at Carrier. If I know Men of Culture, they're coming back for round 2. And they're going to think about moving back towards where the location of Team Falcons and HUSS is. For now, they're just going to scrap loot the rest of Carrier and see if they can get back into the game, but it's not a Sentinel this time, it's a longbow. Sniper's becoming a little bit more prevalent in the ALGS.
Yeah, you get the feeling that Culture has one question: where is the nearest Trident? Because we are going straight back into this corner of the zone. As you said, HUSS able to position themselves quite well here at Stabilizer as well.
Okay, everybody. 20 teams still alive. 60 players alive in the lobby as well. Let's just ignore everything that just happened in those first few moments, because now my brain can understand quite what is happening. Back to tradition. Back to everybody chilling and finding a spot to play.
And speaking of, teams that are pretty late on this move is going to be Shopify playing Rift Height. They've also got Team Burger and Gambler still actually playing low ground here at Rift.
Oh!
That Trident don't look healthy.
Goodness me. Yeah, that thing is not passing the MOT. Let me tell you, that thing needs a service. Oh, goodness me. I think it might only be good for barbecuing a few sausages on the grill, but outside of that, they're going to have to wait for that one to replenish a little bit of HP before they think about moving it.
Luckily, yeah, they move it to an off angle. It is slowly replenishing. The emissions tests were failing rapidly as it was producing quite a lot of carbon dioxide frowned upon, especially in this side of Rift. If you talk about the environment that is, that the carbon dioxide can really get trapped in whatever this thing is made out of.
Yeah, you can already see the darkness above. There's already enough of it in the air. There really are some serious penalties to add into it. But for Team Burger, they have managed to reset. They have managed to stabilize. And MT is looking with his hands, or should I say his reticle up, using that sear passive to see where the push is coming in. Okay, everybody join me. Breathing exercises. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Okay. We are finally in a position where we can look at the map and where everyone is. Okay, no, we're not. Unreal Nightmare fighting.
Gosh, I was just about to take the deep breath as well. Instead, I'll just watch sear cues happen from both sides.
Talk about stifling. Talk about things that take your breath away. That certainly take your abilities away. That Q coming in from Seer could really be a problem. The focus of attention really is something to be worried about. Future streams with the alternator. He's going to take a little bit of damage. Guess who's on the other side of this one? It's DINOS versus the Men of Culture.
Absolutely fitting. That'll be 2 knocks in the feed as Future's just going to try to move back here with DJ and try to reset.
Face dome's out though. Oh, Aveki.
Falcons want in on it.
Well, that's a guaranteed kill, and that is Metaculture finally having their day ended here. That was I will say, even though they've gone out first in the lobby, and that will be your Red Bull first strike, contributing more to the entertainment of the first moments of that game, more than most teams have in their entire career. That was brilliant from them.
And I got to point it out, it's another Game 6, Falcons taking down Men of Culture. Once again, ending their story in game number 6. And by the way, if you're probably wondering, how are things going with Shopify Rebellion?
You feel for them. You really do feel for them. It just feels like nothing. Everyone has had those situations in life when it just feels like nothing is working for that certain moment of time. You're trying everything and you just can't find the formula. Well, Shopify Rebellion are going through that now, and I think the next few weeks is going to be really important for them as a team as to how they bounce back. Speaking of bouncing, there was a kidnap, I believe, that just happened. And Phony is going to have to retreat here. This is Just more carnage. This time happening over at Power Grid. I'm honestly not quite sure what I'm watching right now. There is just too much happening too quickly. Too many teams desperate for points. Not enough defensive legends for players to stabilize. And everybody is just looking for kills and KP.
Yeah, someone out there.
Which are the same thing.
Yes. Some ALGS fan said somewhere, you know, I just wish there was more chaos early game. And I just want to say, damn you wherever you are, because you have gotten your wish and you have brought carnage upon this lobby. Still 3 teams, by the way, you just saw actually 4 teams still at Power Grid, so there's going to be even more action on that eastern side of zone.
Yeah, Power Grid a problem because gamblers are probably thinking about moving through it as well. Legacy, Nice Guys, and Crazy Thieves still there. HBM overlooking it on the northern side, so problems potentially. Zestfest are running up to Turbine right now, and Purple Slushee are ahead of them as the bin reset comes in. That's going to be a nice little addition to the arsenal, and this is where the zone is going. Okay, I will say the ring is in, but it's not where the game is going to end. You imagine it's going to pull out to the position at ROC, who are in a fantastic spot considering the overall leaderboards and where they find themselves.
Yeah, we've seen this a little bit in scrims. JDG is almost certainly, you can kind of tell from the overhead, they're playing that edge triangle of the hedges that edges the stadium. They're probably going to try to hold that space as well as they can because this likely pulls just off of that. They're going to try to hold the exterior. Their biggest threat, of course, will be HUSS and Falcons to the north.
You're going to say edges of the hedges there, and with the ridiculousness that's happened so far, Andy, it probably would have sent me over the edge. So
don't worry.
I'm quite happy that you didn't. Save that one for a little bit later.
Yeah, don't worry.
All right, Zestfest here. Over at Turbine, this is going to be the fight that we were looking forward to. Purple Slushee on the other end of it, and I'll tell you what, Purple Slushee, they weren't looking forward to that fight. That is as clean as you could possibly imagine. 3 players down on one side, 3 players up on the other. That's going to be Purple Slushee's day ended.
Really glad they gave us a moment because I thought that Turbine battle was going to happen earlier. They gave us a moment to breathe as DINOS is able to stay alive. Let's get into a listen-in here with DINOS.
Can't drop it. Why can I not put it down?
Yep.
I just can't put it down anywhere. Whatever. We gotta walk. We gotta walk. Can you port us in to the front?
I don't. We want me to go.
Trench right here. There's a teammate. There's a teammate. We're fighting front carrier. Go, 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 go. For fighting front carrier right now.
I pointed my hat. I can't let it go.
Let it go. We're just fighting. Oh, okay. Moving up, moving up. They don't know. They don't know. They think we left. They're gonna know soon. I'm getting ready to explode out. Run at them now. Sheltering forward. Pushing it. We just need to push them back into that room. Push them back into the room, and then we're good.
I'm batting.
Teammates. They're back. Careful. Not crack. Buddy. Fight on me, guys. I'm nading it. Really good nade. Really good nade. Boom. 100. You win that, DJ. We're in the knock.
Woo.
Oh. Next. Res me. Structure stop. Getting thirded by Wraith Portal. Wraith Portal right here. They're not gonna full commit yet.
Well, here come Falcons after the nades, the boom, and Falcons are getting ripped apart.
Oh my God!
They back. Goodness me, DJ Killer, that alternator is a highly dangerous weapon in your hands, sir.
Wow, you heard the prio on the res on the Watson as well, and they somehow stabilize and avoid the Falcons' third party, and very good damage on Waltzy to force them straight back through the portal. Oh boy,
one of my favorite listen-ins I've had in a while, by the way. Couldn't place the evac tower. And then good nades, boom. It's one of the funniest things I've heard in an ALGS lobby in quite some time. Crazy Thieves trying to push back Legacy here. Neither team are safe.
Yeah, like we said, Grid was still going to get pretty nasty. It's actually still going to be Nice Guys, Gambler, CRT, and Legacy in Power Grid with this little space to play on the western side.
I can't believe we've only had 4 squads eliminated so far in this game with the amount of kills and knocks and resets and everything that we've seen going in so far. It feels like we should be down to about 9.
Yeah.
But Crazy Thieves are still on their feet. CQs are coming in. Phony's going to grab that power booster as well to try and get that portal back a little bit quicker as well to get them out of this situation. The pressure they're under is not good really for either team here. Legacy have to force this fight to try and move Crazy Thieves out of the way, but then waiting for them on the choke is going to be nice, guys. And then after that, Zest are playing the next choke. So this is a gauntlet to run here for CRT.
I was going to make the same exact point. Even if you win this, there's going to be a lot of teams waiting on the Fight Night side of this choke. CRT's just trying to win the straight 3v3, but they've got a phase dome to contend with.
Yeah, they can't step into that. They're not going to be able to do anything with it. By doing so, the time bought means now that they're going to have to fight. The damage is huge, though, and Phony is going to swing in. 1, 2, 3. But Verholst is now last alive. He will win the fight, but can he get the reset? Zone closing at their back. Verholst, the last standing man here for CRT. It's a 1v1. He will go down as well. Flat will be eliminated in the meantime, as now we go over to Fight Night and DINOS, who are doing what they do, which is fight, fight, fight. The Buckle Boys are next.
By the way, Falcons eliminated in the feed as well. They don't come in from the western side. This is pulling, as we suspected, just outside to the northeast, outside of the Fight Night Stadium. So anyone inside right here, like DINOS, they will need to find their way out.
I mean, DINOS just having another monster game. 5 KP here for DJ Killer. On the high ground, it's going to be DKK. Inside of the ring is Team Burger. We talk about the safety of Baby Comp. Well, the safety of the ring is the next best thing.
Yeah, Legacy going to be eliminated as well. We should mention it's HUSS who still holds that northern side. Let's not forget, early game, HUSS was the first team to take the northernmost point of Stabilizer. They will still hold the northern side.
Looking at Burger's options here. They do have Valkyrie, and they do have purple shields. So they can jump out and Valcult late if they want to. DINOS don't quite have the same options, but with the way they're playing, I think their plan is probably just, where's the next team? Because we're just going to run them over.
Ooh, thought about the evac, but I love this. They look okay. Wait. We might see some ridiculousness. We've seen. Thankfully, this is pulling outside, so it won't come down to it. But looks like Team Burger just playing them with it a little bit, just playing inside the ring, which obviously creates quite a dynamic here. We'll have to see if they take the bait and enter or just evac past it.
Oh my God!
Fisticuffs come out for a second.
And that would be the best thing.
Yes,
that DINOS could do for pure entertainment at this point,
or fan base. They might get. Yeah, they have.
I mean, they're in first place right now, so maybe that's playing on their mind.
Here they go.
CQ comes in, trying to get ahead of them. They're trying to deny this Valcult being taken, and now they have to leave. And Team Burger are getting sauteed. It's going to be ROC who pick up the kills, and ROC who have been in one of the best spots for this entire game, and now starting to see the fruits of their labor. The nades going in on the corner as well. That's going to do massive damage. Zest were just eliminated as well, but they've got to be careful of DINOS here.
Yeah, they've got to be really careful. There's going to be pressure, as we said, coming off of the exit of this Fight Night build. It's going to be Noct who tries to come in and win it, and Vax is pushed back.
Cersei going to get that phase dome down and keep his teammates alive inside of zone and take them back to the spot they played so much earlier. But JDG have taken that spot away from them now. They can come back and heal, which I think they're going to have to do. But instead, they're just going to try and force this one. They've got a lot of KP already in this game, but ROC Esports are out. It's top 4. And JDG sit under Pathfinder's trophy in a fantastic spot here.
Ooh, might be able to also get this finish. They should. DKK will go out. And these are the edges of the hedges that I was talking about earlier, Mark. This is such a great spot to hold, especially when you have a Watson in the lineup. They've been holding this space for the entire late game, and now we're into our final 3 squads.
Well, Envy's found himself a Kraber. HBM have most of the zone in their control. Gonna put a portal down here just to get some different angles, just to get his teammates away and maybe find a few extra meds on these loot boxes. But when you're looking at teams who are closest to each other and will have to engage, it's HUSS and JD Gaming who are closest. HBM plus a Kraber have a huge opportunity here to win the final game of the day.
Yeah, we'll see what Envy could do. Like you said, she has the Kraber in her hands and she's looking for those angles, but really could be a statement after a very lackluster match day 1 for HBM. Finished in 20th place. They could try to make something happen here.
And we're going to have to queue back. Teammate has gone down. That's going to make this a lot more difficult. And JDG do not have to be asked twice. Floating's going to move up. He's going to jump into the void as well. We'll be able to get back to the safety of his teammates, but they do a good job to hold for now.
But they lose perfections from another angle, actually. That's going to be HBM falling to a little, I think it was Kimchi of HUSS who's holding still the northern side, and that will be it. They will fall. However, HBM, a lot to be proud of here on match day number 3. Now it's just going to be JDG versus HUSS in a 3v3.
And the edges of the hedges are going to have to be hopped hit. And that means that the first shot should be landed by HUSS. They're all playing towards head glitches. Floating's going to fly out with that Q, trying to get behind enemy lines, try and take a 1v1, but it's not going to happen. 2 players fall. HUSS in game number 6 just have to deal with Shubi, and deal with them they will. HUSS will be the champions of game 6, and that will bring the Americas to a close for today. Andy, what a day it's been.
My God, what a day. In the end, I got to tell you what, sanity has maybe been restored. It is the veterans of HUSS who play the northern side of zone. They watch all sorts of insane carnage happen with teams that are new to Pro League, veteran teams falling in front of them. They slowly play their walk-in from North Stabilizer, and they take the game, and I feel like there has been some semblance of sanity restored with that game win.
Yeah, just a moment of calm in that game towards the end. It was one of the, I mean, game 6 is always a little bit unpredictable with people trying to chase down points to change their fortunes of the day. But I mean, an incredible day of action once again, full of surprises. I think that's the one takeaway that I have from this day of action is you don't know what's going to happen at the moment. It is so difficult to predict what teams are going to perform on the day. HUSS with a win with 9 KP alongside it. That's a good day for them.
Absolutely. I mean, Jelly, Kimchi, and Dupe going to be very happy with that last performance. I think they've been waiting across the 2 match days for a moment like that, this team, and I think they certainly found it here in that game number 6.
Very impressive stuff from HUSS in that final game to take it home, and a little smile on their face, Lauren, as that has been on ours all day long. It's been a very, very, very fun show.
It has been. You know, I think part of that is the fact that we had insane games all day, and part of that is the fact that you guys crushed it on the cast. So thank you very much for making today enjoyable.
It was fun. I mean, we are happy to say the games provided the action, and that game 6 was probably the best example of that.
It was a good day of ALGS across the board. So also for anybody who's here right now, if you missed EMEA, make sure you check out that VOD, because we had just as much fun in EMEA as we are having right now in the Americas. Really, really solid games across our entire series. And I love what we are getting when it comes to the variety of the winners that we're seeing as we're taking a look here at some of these stats from HBM Mark.
Yeah, I mean, a great perfection from them again. A great effort from them again today, as you see, really closing out the day strong. A little bit of a shaky start for them, but a 2nd and a 3rd on Olympus, a 17 and a 10-point game will change their fortunes. It's a great example of how things can change if you can hold your nerve after having some bad starts. You know, E-District wasn't their map. Olympus looks a lot different for them. So by doing those performances that they have in match 5 and 6, they've changed their day completely. It looks very, very different to how they would have been feeling after that 3rd game.
It'll be interesting to see if this is a result of the map, of the day, of the way, you know, the legend bands went throughout the series. Either way to bring it back at the end of our matches here today, because that always is important to be able to recover, which I've said a few times today, after a slower start. And the reason our series results took a little bit longer is because we have a flippin' tie after everything.
Why wouldn't we have a tiebreaker? Why wouldn't we have a tiebreaker?
The way today has gone, we end up with DINOS and Rock tied at 75 points, Andy, and we had to wait to determine who was going to get that first place spot.
And how about the reason it goes down to biggest individual match score tiebreaker down the list of tiebreakers, and it's going to be a 30-pointer from DINOS, of course, over ROC's 23 in game 4. So it's that huge game from DINOS actually wins them the match day.
Impressive. And the fact that both of those teams had that big of a point gap above the rest of the lobby here today just speaks to how strong of a performance they have, as we now get to see what that means for our Pro League standings, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. NIP are going to be very happy watching from the sidelines today, because they are still on top after 2 days. ROC in behind them. Rock, I mean, it's a great day for them, right? It's a tiebreaker. Unfortunately, a little bit of a heartbreaker that they will be given 2nd place after their day instead of 1st, but 33 points for them. Team Burger as well, a very good position in the leaderboards, but barely anything between the teams. But it looks like after 3 match days, Ninjas in Pajamas kind of separating themselves from the pack a little bit here. You're looking down a little bit further. Some of the big names, Team Liquid and Falcons, you know, 10th and 12th respectively. CRT, I know they're playing with a sub. I will say that twice. Down in 15th, but Shopify Rebellion. I hate to kind of like, you know, stir the pot here, but 23rd, 12 points after 2 match days. That's a tough thing to read.
And I mean, I don't disagree with you. I had said that they were one of those teams that was hopefully looking to bounce back after their last day's performance. Unable to do so today, but they still have the rest of the split to try and figure that out. As we take a look at our Sony in-zone kill leaderboard as well, and I'm very excited to see this one, Andy, because it is DJ from the DINOS with 24 kills as our kill leader. I mean, are you kidding?
DJ set up a permanent tunnel from the bike shed to center grow zone, and he just absolutely went back and forth between it to rack up 24 kills on the day. Take a look. No one is even close. It is a huge day from DJ Killa.
Massive performance out of them. That's definitely something they're going to be hoping to repeat. And to be fair, right after DJ Mark was Cersei with 16 kills as well. So it's understandable why both those squads are at the top of our leaderboard.
Yeah, I mean, if you're fragging out, you're usually having a good day, and taking a look at, the kills where they came in there, it's a consistent day across the board. And I think it's always fun to see, because whenever I look at like kills leaderboard, right, Falcons have a bad day, but Fal's always there somewhere. Just somehow is always on there, even though it's not near the top. But the story's not his today. The story certainly isn't Falcons. It's all about, you know, ROC. It's all about, you know, teams at the top that we didn't expect to see, like DINOS taking the day, and some of the craziness we saw in that final day. I think the takeaway for me on the day, like overall, is like zones. Just zones.
Just a
it's
period.
like aliens.
Period.
Aliens.
Zones, period.
Me just saying zones.
It's so true.
We're going to create a meme for that. And while we make the meme happen, we're also going to bring in Cersei, who's ready to chat with us after a phenomenal day from Rock Esports. Cersei, how you feeling?
Feeling good.
I mean, not only did you guys have a strong performance, but you as an individual, second place on our kill leaderboard with 16 kills. What went right for you guys as a trio today?
I think when game day comes, we all like focus up as a team and have good communication, and that happened today, and we all worked really well together to get some kills and have some really good games.
I mean, that last game was a little bit of cinema from our point of view, because there was so much carnage happening around the map. You guys got a really good spot early and make the most of it. When you were looking at the kill feed and seeing so many teams like just engaging very early on, teams being respawned, how difficult was it for you to keep your nerve in those moments and just play around the strong position that you managed to hold down?
I mean, I saw everyone dying. The zone was coming in, but like I know I got 2 really great teammates, and I just stayed confident in my IGL, and got a good last game.
So I want to ask you about the height you were holding around the Oasis zone as you're holding bridge. You late bubble. The ult timing is perfect. Did it feel like that was all going to kind of click? You guys had the game plan of exactly how you wanted to play that late game when you're dropping and you're bubbling last?
Yeah, we cleaned up the height, and we were like, oh, we need to bubble out far, and we went out, bubbled, did everything according to plan, and it went really well.
So tell me a little bit about your thoughts right now on the current meta, how if you guys feel like you kind of slot into that with where the split has found itself so far.
I mean, I don't really like the Gibby Newcastle comps, but I'm really happy that like the first 3 games were on like really aggressive comps, and then we swapped to it, and it makes it pretty fun.
And it was obviously your first year in Pro League last season. You made it into Pro League, and now you've kind of evolved. You're finding yourself alongside 2 established players who've been doing it for quite some time now. How's it been, you know, that step up for you onto this lineup? And what do you think you bring to them as players as well?
Yeah, it's been definitely a roller coaster this last year. And when it comes to this team, I think I bring like some playmaking and maybe some extra ideas, since I was just IGLing. And I think we like really connect with those ideas and on game day with the communication.
Well, Cersei, honestly, you guys had a phenomenal performance here today. Like I said, you crushed it as well. We're not going to keep you here for too long, but before we say goodbye, do you want to do any shout outs or anything like that before we say goodbye?
I mean, I'm just really thankful for my 2 teammates. They're amazing.
Oh yeah.
Well, I love that. I love that. Well, congratulations one more time, and thank you so much for chatting. We get to take a look one more time at these Pro League standings, what it meant for everybody at the end of the day. Like Mark mentioned earlier, NIP still at the tippy top. They're going to be feeling good about that with a decent gap above Rock right there in following behind them. And honestly, Andy Team Burger did great today as well.
They really did. I think one thing that Mark and I have talked about a lot during scrims is teams that are playing GB Newcastle, they are going to get, and they do it well, they're going to do very consistent placings that not only put them well in the table, but just guarantee them getting to LAN as well as late game. So Team Burger, I think, doing even better than the average baby comp team would expect. I agree. Really great games from them. I think it's the Burger buff.
It's 100%. 100%.
It's the burger bubble. I can't even say it. The burger bubble buff.
Burger bubble buff.
Yeah, burger bubble buff.
That's going to be your new show warm up before we start.
That and I can't even do it now. Is it Priyaniki?
No,
Priyaniki.
It's over. I'm choked. I'm sorry. I give up.
Chat's gonna get it before we do. Now, besides the zones, Mark, give me your final thoughts today on what we got out of the Americas, because it was super fun.
I mean, I've got to be honest, coming into this week, I was expecting to see a little bit more consistency, and maybe we did see that in legend bans, right, and compositions being played in certain games, but I think we're just seeing an uprising of talent at the moment, to be honest with you. Like, some of these 3v3 fights, previous years, a team coming in from CC into Pro League would be run over.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that's the case now. These teams are fighting back, and maybe the macro needs a little bit of work. Maybe there's a little bit of experience that needs to be gained, but there is no easy fight in these lobbies. And I think there's a few teams who are going to be looking at these lobbies at the moment and looking at the future weeks and having to reassess how they're going to approach these game days, because it is very, very difficult to win clean fights at the moment. And I think that everybody is in the lobby who maybe is kind of built and established themselves on being able to win fights and bully teams out of places, are really having to test that little thing in the back of their head now, where they're like, we're going to have to work out a way to find points.
100%. Andy, what has it been like coming back into the fray?
It's been so great. I've had like such a great day. I want to thank you, the whole community, for welcoming me back to a cast on a Pro League show. But I think for me as well in Americas, I think Mark hit a really great story earlier where some of the big dogs, just Team Liquid, Falcons, Shopify, work to be done from them, which sets us up for an awesome story. And I think in Americas, even more than EMEA, it's just like there are so many variables for these teams to get ready for. I mean, Olympus on its own, right? It's still such a big variable, a limited number of months of competitive play on this map. So when you throw in the way teams are playing, unpredictability of legend bans, the fact that your doors might get breached off at any given moment, or your entire setup of fences and barrels might just get absolutely nuked. There's so many variables to be ready for. And I think consistency is maybe going to be the hardest it's been in a while, for all the reasons that I just listed and that you guys have mentioned all show. It is guaranteed to be a very exciting split.
Yeah. And we're not even close to done. As always, you can follow along with us on social media if you guys want to keep yourselves up to date with everything that we've got going on, whether that is at Play Apex Esports, on X, on YouTube, on Insta, and on TikTok, or at Play Apex on Twitch. And if you're wondering when all that action is going to be happening that we keep talking about, we're only 3 days into our split. You can see it down there on the lower third. Next weekend, April 19th, will be match day 4 for EMEA. Obviously, Americas will be following right after that. So another day jam-packed, full of action. So of course, make sure you guys are tuning in, following us on social media so you can keep yourselves up to date with everything that we've got going on in the ALGS. Until then, hop into some games of Apex, maybe try out ranked, and we'll see you all back here next weekend, Legends.